Okay, I am live. सही चल रही है ना? शुक्र है भाई, 1.5 घंटा मत्था मारने के बाद चल रही है। अब मेरे को इसकी ना साउंड एक्चुअली बढ़ानी है, येलो तक जा ही नहीं रही मैं बोल रहा हूँ तो को अबे यार तो मेरे को ऑप्शन दे दे। वेट। इस टाइम में कौन सा यूज़र है? हेलो, एक सेकंड भाई। ये तो एक्सटर्नल माइक है, ये एरे माइक है, ये ईरियम है। हेलो हेलो हेलो। अरे हेलो हेलो। ये वाले माइक तो बहुत ही ठीक है भाई, देखो। हेलो 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 माइक टेस्टिंग। हेलो, ये वाले पे करना पड़ेगा आई थिंक, वो दूसरा ज़्यादा आतंकी फाड़ माइक है। तो जो भी है चल लिया लाइफ स्ट्रीम। हेलो, डिले है यार हल्का सा, पता नहीं इसको कैसे सही करें, रुको। आई थिंक आई नो हाउ आई फिक्स दिस। हेलो हेलो। इस पे अगर मैं एक दो फिल्टर मार दूँ ना सही हो जाएगा एक्चुअली, क्योंकि दिस इज राइट नाउ यूजिंग दैट दिस वन माइक। ग्रीन है नॉइस गेट मार दें। हेलो हेलो, अब सही है। पता नहीं यार क्या नॉइस गेट और सप्रेशन। नॉइस सप्रेशन कर सकते हैं, ठीक। नॉइस गेट की जगह रिमूव दिस and close. Hello. You think this is more fun? Yeah. Hello. Fix. Hello, back to basics. वो फोन बंद हो गया, तभी कहूँ मैं। फिर कैमरा नहीं चल रहा मेरा, क्यों कर रही है ये? अब सही चल रहा है, लग तो रहा है। चलो यार, वैसे ही बहुत टाइम वेस्ट हो गया आज, ऑलमोस्ट मेरे 2-2.5 घंटे वेस्ट हो गए इस चक्कर में। मेरे को वार्म अप गाना चाहिए थोड़ा स्टार्ट करने के लिए। मेरे को एक बार पहले चेक करना है मेरा हेडफोन दोनों। या मेरे IEMs खराब हो गए। बहुत ही हल्का सा माइनर सा इशू है। लेट्स गो, हो जाए भाई। मेरे को पता, मेरे को आधे घंटे बाद फिर ज़रूरत पड़ेगी इसकी, बट हो जाए अब तो। हो जाए भाई, हो जाए हो जाए हो जाए हो जाए। लेट्स गो लेट्स गो लेट्स गो। अबे सीधा यहीं से स्टार्ट हो गया। लेट्स गो। लेट्स गो सीधे मौत انت الصاصي गलत دماغنا مصدر भाई ये कोल्ड कॉफी भाई कल का टुच्चा कल का कुत्ता नहीं क्या हो गया अब जिसको ललकारना हमें तो आ जाओ कच्चा ब्रो वार्म अप हो गया लेट्स गो एक और हो जाए लेट्स गो अब मैं ये वाला लैपटॉप रखूँगा साइड में ठीक है देन आई जस्ट चिल एंड स्टार्ट डूइंग लॉकिंग वर्क्स आई थिंक आज एलेक्स भी लाएगा ना
गाजी पर रखते मेरी पहचान मुझे तेरे जंगल का मैं शेर खान जहर काम करूँ ना लूँ किसी का भी एहसान बाप ने मेरा तेरी माया पे मेहरबान किंग साइज डबल बेड ईस्ट साइड ट्रबल है बेस और ट्रबल है हथियार एफएल है फील लाइक कैफरी फील्डिंग गलत है आंडू अकल के हीरो बने मगर है शक्ल से लड़ लौंडे रबर है सस्ते सदर है घिसते रोज लेकिन अकल है कम पेन गेम मर मैं
एक हाथ माइक और एक हाथ कलम है bitch I'm the one जिससे नहीं हो
खत्ते की पास में तो सांस मत लियो या लौंडे तक पास इन शॉट मत लियो तुझे तेरा कोई फ्री तेरा सब छीन लेंगे मेरी जान पता मुझे सब यहाँ पे घर डेरी फार्म बिक स्नैक्स बिके दूध यहाँ पे बिके हर सामान बिके जान बिको यहाँ पे लगाते सही दाम पे जान यहाँ पे लगाते सही दाम दे गाजीपुर का खत्म मेरी पहचान मुझे तेरे जंगल का मैं शेर खान जहर काम करूँ ना लूँ किसी का भी एहसान बाप ने मेरा तेरी माँ यहाँ पे तुझे पता क्या है मेरी पहचान मैं गाने फटे सही मेरा नया माँ मार जब भी करूँ पौर मैं वे पर शैतान बुरे जने समझ आता पैगाम
चट्टू डबल चट्टू
बंदे चटगे बेचते कवर है बॉक्लाओ बंदे की 24 कमर है बहुत करो स्टंट रियल लाइफ जैसे जैक स्टैंड एंड आई मेक अ कम अगेन टेक ओवर द बटर पेन सीधे मौज पे देने पहने मैं पोकर बैंड आती थी मिलेगी ना मेरे कभी मौका चैन bitch I'm the one जैसे जेट ली you don't wanna test me दूसरे के बेट जैसे वेस्टली trust me I scale the dreams की बने सेट की तो इंडस्ट्री भी जाने की ये बॉयज दे fuck me छाबू कागज पूरा फोकस कहेंगे क्या ये बंदे कुंवर तम पे शाज तो गेम के टॉप पर कभी नहीं भूला है कहाँ से कहाँ पर गाजीपुर का खत्ता मेरी पहचान मुझे तेरे जंगल का मैं शेर खान जहर काम करूँ ना लूँ किसी का भी एहसान बाप ने मेरा तेरी माया पे मेहरबान तुझे पता क्या है मेरी पहचान नैनदार गाने फटे सैन बिता नेपाम ने मार जब भी करूँ बोलूँ मैं वे पर शैतान बुरे जने समझ आता पैगाम पहचान कैसे छोड़ा मैंने इन्हें हैरान गुरु राम करा मैंने पैदा पूरा मैदान गैर कानूनी करे काम बोले जयराम घूमे मेरे फैन हर जगह जैसे खैतान फिर जांच मिलानी कहता गुनानी ट्राइन पुट स्ट्रिंग्स तू ना एहसान नूरानी है कौन जुआरी एहसान चुकानी देख बनी लहर तेरे भाई की सुनामी किल विद द वेनम गेट इट विद द प्रोग्राम सारे कंपेटिटर मेरे बेटे या गो हैंड मैं हूं चिन चेक ना सेट करूं विद नो बैंग मेरा वेंडेटा भी रेप बेटर देन मोस्ट कैन पूछ रहे सवाल अब कर ले वकालत बंदे कमाल तो करते बवाल अब सबके जवाब रखते जबान पकड़े बार समना भरते जमानत बोले कितना बेबी ऐसे bitches fuck you crazy I'm John Wick with a weapon but to kill him parabellum सारे दिन अब देखे panic I'm crazy गाजीपुर का खत्म मेरी पहचान मुझे तेरे जंगल का मैं शेर खान जहर काम करूँ ना लूँ किसी का भी एहसान बाप ने मेरा तेरी माँ यहाँ पे
अबे कंप्लीट करना है पूरा आज के आज, इसीलिए। कंप्लीट करना है पूरा आज के आज, इसीलिए। Let me do little bit of my setup things, ठीक है, then we'll just go। तब तक हल्का हल्का गाना सुनो।
रैप गेम मेरा है, भागो दो शेर है, लिरिकल मेला तेरा भाई सेना है, करे सिम बहुत जाने मशीन हूँ, थोड़ा सा फीन हूँ, थोड़ा सा बनता है, मैं सर्टिफाइड एफ्रो समुराई, जी हाँ तू बहुत ही गंडवा है, तू बस चोटे धुएं में कमरा है, मेरे साथ ब्लंट है, मेरे पास ब्लंट है, जीरे भाई सपना है, पहले बिन बात चिपकना, फिर हमसे यहाँ काय के लसना, और हमी को सरे हम साफ से डसना, तो बता भाई क्या फायदा मदद का, तो बता फिर क्या फायदा अदब का, जो दिल में जहर भर के तू चलता है लेके, अभी देखा सिंगापुर में आरसीपी, अगले महीने जा रहे कभी थाईलैंड, और अगले महीने गाँव में जा रहा नानी से मैं मिलने, उनकी कहानी से बना मैं अभी जिसे भी सीखे, ये चीज बोलूँ दावे से गिरा पर उन्हें समझे से शो ना करे नहीं कभी देखे, बजो बैठो अपने दो बात से ना भिड़ो, खटे तेरा जैसे पीरोल पड़ा है, आधा किलो सारा मेरा है, मैं ईंटों से बजा तू तेरा पिजा, कुछ क्या ठीक हो स्वा इन नोटों के लिए दो था, हम जीते रोज करे भाई मुंह मीठा है, सारे लोग टेरिफाइड लूफी और लीवाई से पूरी तरह तेरा भाई का स्वा रैप करूँ ना स्पिट फैक्ट्स करूँ या एक वर्स लगाए आग और हुए सब do what I want to, मुझे पता है कौन तू, पास करे जाए 1 2, बंदे इतने चेक करे, कैरी स्मेल डैंग करे, फैनी बैक H2SO4 मिला चांस करा एसिड रैप, इन्हीं की चुगली में माइक की तार लपेट के I wonder why you're still debating, देखा crown and it's up for the taking, सीधे मौत बाकी fuck all it over ना, ये यार अपने बाप को तू सुनाया, चले मेरा पे ना वहाँ तेरा मुंह खुला, मैं आज सही करूँगा कि तेरी तू तड़ा, क्या मेरे साथी नहीं करते हैं मुंह से बात, स्वा घर में उड़ जाए धुआं, बंदे सोरे नो ख्वाब, दोस्ते भर जाए ऑफ, इनको दिखना ख्वाब, उतारो तेरा भूत आज, स्वा पल में कट जाए चुआ, पता नहीं कब लैंड हुआ, तेरा भाई खेले जाए जुआ, घर में करे मात दुआ, क्या करे दोनों भाई सब,
उसे भले दो उसे भले तीन, बैड बॉय सी द मौत, एल्विस सुप्रीम, दिया दिल को सीन, लॉन्डो को ड्रीम, हिटर को मीम, स्पॉटिफाई को स्ट्रीम, आगा कर रहा था दिल ने निकली, भौंक रहा था बहुत तो दिल ने निकली, नोटे की शक्ल के तो चिल्ली निकली, नस मेरी कटी उसमें दिल ने निकली, नहीं दारू पीता है नहीं माल फूकता है, अंडरग्राउंड ये कमर्शियल बस आग थूकता है, बट वैसे तो भाई तेरा मुक्ता नहीं, फिर मिल के जब भी मुकता है तो बस आग मुकता है, ओल्ड स्कूल जैसे डीवीडी, आज कल देखो काफी पीपीटी, पैसों के लिए अब काम नहीं करता, कंपनी में लेता सीधा इक्विटी, make moves make calls not texting, 10 साल से भी ज्यादा still the best in, I'm the best brand you could invest in, नाम बादशाह जैसे it was destined, काम साथ अब होगी calamity, इनको देनी पड़ेगी थेरेपी, तो साइकी बिना की with us between, तेरी शक्ल जैसे नस से पहले पी, उंगली करने वालों का हाथ तोड़ दिया, हुआ मत्ता खराब मैंने हाथ छोड़ दिया, मुझे देख कई रैपरों ने कलम उठाई, मुझे देख कई रैपरों ने काम छोड़ दिया,
चलो ये अपना सर टेक हाथ जोड़ बाप लोग खड़े हैं बेस्ट इन बिजनेस लाख फ्लोज घाट पे धरे हैं नया पंच है हाथ में द्वारका से लिया मुंह पे 5.5-6 बेटा हाथ तेज चले हैं यहाँ पे लौंडे हैं सड़क छाप जाए सड़क सरहद पार साथी हैं चले चार बाकी जाए रहे वहाँ और तो और जाना चाह रहे वहाँ मैं परसों था खड़ा जहाँ फिर क्या पता कलूँ कहाँ बस एक ही तू नन्ना मुन्ना बालक है आँख बंद पीठ टुक रही है बस दिमाग खोल क्योंकि बेटा सीख मिल रही है हम काम तोल गानों से अब चीज मिल रही है जैसे रियल एस्टेट कैटलॉग लीज चढ़ रही है और हम मालिक है मनी मेजर कीज बज रही है लोअर मिडिल क्लास लौंडे की अब फीस बढ़ रही है दिल है बड़ा बहुत पर अब यहाँ पे भीड़ बढ़ रही है बंदे असल जी जापड़ जैसी जीप चल रही है
मने में आता मैं समझ नहीं कि सुबह होने दो भनक नहीं अपनों को रखे ध्यान असल चीज सीधे मौत नशा है तभी यहाँ नजर है नकल ची लौंडों के मूव जैसे पुकड़ी काम और समय की कदर की सब जानते हैं you do not fuck with me छुपाए जाए सारी फायर रेसिपीज और मेरी सेटिंग है किल एम ऑल रेस्ट इन पीस माइक पे तो मार्क्स है पीस पे पीस ऊपर लाए तेरा बाई डायलिंग सो एक कुकिंग का है जैसा सिखा how to get this cake awake and bake paper plane पे paper chase it face I face to face तो देखा कि तू नन्ना मुन्ना छोटा सा तो बालक है बच्चा कुछ साबुन है आधा लौंडे में नहीं पढ़ू जैसे कॉमिक है कच्ची मिट्टी है लीक थोड़ी अलग है ऊपर फटा बात में बहुत ही ज्यादा ताकत है पावर लेवल ओवर 9 के आने चाहिए पैसे टाइम पे जाके खड़ा हो जा साइड पे सामने तेरे तो लड़के
चलो ये अपना सर टेक हाथ जोड़ बाप लोग खड़े हैं बेस्ट इन बिजनेस लाख फ्लोज घाट पे धरे हैं नया पंच है हाथ में द्वारका से लिया मुंह पे 5.5-6 बेटा हाथ तेज चले हैं यहाँ पे
Your ego feeling achy मैं वगनी कद गोने की फेंकी मैंने लेके मिठी ते नाले विच पाया मैं आलू मैं फोन ते कीता चालू सुन मालू ट्रवे हो मेरे कोल आ के पै जा सारे कहंदे मैनू ए होल सवेर तो सिर लाया मैं सिगरट एक घुमदा मैं नंगा साइकिल ए सारे कहंदे फारिस अनस्टेबल ए all I do is watch my enemies die हाय हुन सारे मंगदे मेरे कोल आए ओके बाय सेक्सुअल करती अपने आप को आइडेंटिफाई जब भी वो आए अपनी दोस्त भी लाए खिलाऊं कोल सला गंदी अपने कोल सला she like porcelain I'm not most of men मैं हूँ full कमीन I like Mussolini in the ski mask finding my demons और अपने ही साइको में मारूं machine guns और बैठा अपने गाने सारे सुनूं repeat पर shadow मेरा मुड़ के मुझे बोले just hold my penis I'm the most meanest take you to the cleaners I'm vocalizing all my feelings when I put a kabila it's so pleasing मैं हूँ glees they love to hate me hate to love me I'm paid to speak और लेके beat मैं full to lead by the balls now let me just make
चलो
it
ये अपना सर टेक हाथ जोड़ बाप लोग खड़े हैं बेस्ट इन बिजनेस लाख फ्लोज घाट पे धरे हैं नया पंच है हाथ में द्वारका से लिया मुंह पे 5.5-6 बेटा हाथ तेज चले हैं यहाँ पे
नहीं चाहिए कोई है कल देते ये रैपर नहीं है बड़वे स्मैक किए इनके शो पे पीछे वोकल चलते हैं बे आते लाइफ फिर करते रंडी रोने क्रैंक किए हैं जो पीटो देश भर में ढिंडोरा बंदे चैंपियन जो मेरे पे टाइम नहीं है बंदे मेहनती है ना पहने दूसरी बारी कपड़ा शो पे फैंसी है और बंदी सेक्सी है एक मोटा चेक भी है हाँ लिख रहे वैनिटी में गाना लड़के टक चका चुप के वैकलों ने बहुत आगे सीमी नहीं सुने ये नाम मैंने चली थे लौंडे जब बोला था पीछे पर आगे जब मिले तो सॉरी भैया छोड़े जो रोगा भी साथों ने पता नहीं आगे जो होगा तो उन्हीं का लॉस तेरा परी करे थे कैच पे पहले से मारो मैं मेरे पे सारी सॉस I don't give a fuck about you now छुट्टी पे काठमांडू सुमड़ी में गांठ फाड़ दूं हर चाल मेरी बैटमैन मूव बस I try to keep my cool अभी सीन पूरा चूस रहा है खून तभी तेरा भाई कूद रहा है बूम दोनों भाई टाइकून सिगो रैप भाई चूप दोनों भाई से take it diss the hype के bitch I don't need that shit ऊंचाई पे लड़के लिख रहे स्क्रिप्ट दो साइड पे एक आधे गाने थे लौंडों के भी ड्रिपो तो मेरे जैसी इन बच्चों पे करी में फ्लेक्स इनकी उम्र से ज्यादा अंगूठी में ही
चैंपियन है तुम
ना छोड़ दे मैं बोलते जमीर है आधे ये लोडू बधीरे हैं बातें करते लौड़े हंसल की पर इनके पापा अमीर है
कुखा
पहले तेरी बनी ज्यादा गीली होके लग गया कि बदन पे है लूफा जैसे आए खून का लो सुनूंगा नहीं
अरे भाई
कैसे करके मानेगा रुक जा थम जा सांस ले ले मैंने कुछ लिखा है सुन ले
राफी करता राफी रैप ब्लेजर ऑन नीचे बैगी पैंट्स फ्रीक वन इंफिनिटी
तू खाली है शक्ल से लगता फ्रीक तो दैट्स freaking bad या लौंडे पल रहे
बाप की एफडी पे खर खरस्ती में
फिर छेड़े बंदियां
गली के बाहर सस्ती मस्ती में
और इसकी बहन को जौन सा ताड़ लो ये हक कलेशी है पिटेगा वो और उसका
बाप फिर उसका बाप
मसाब महंगी मस्ती है ये
पूरे कप में है
फूले भटके खूब है धूप है सर पे तो चटक रहे हैं खुद में बज रहे हूँ मैं जूम है क्यों मैं यहाँ पे फचड़े हैं दिल्ली घूमे तू मैं यहाँ दिखाऊं मैं तेरे को
जमना पारी ठोस
चोले कुलचे
मेरा काफिरा पीरा पीरा
जब से बाप का
ब्लेजर ऑन नीचे बैगी पैंट
बंदी बोली माइक पे फ्रीक हूँ और हूँ मैं फ्रीक इन बेड तो खाली है शक्ल से लगता फ्री है नो दैट्स फ्रीकिंग बैड
लौंडे इतने तेज जिगर लौंडों से भी पीछे
लैप्स का है फर्क मारे बीच में कि नाम में छेद मुझे साथ लेके खींचे पर कट्टे रहते बाबे में लौड़े के मस्त तेरी गान फॉर आम चूतिया मैं हेट को भी पता मेरी सारी खूबियां कान से मारो बाबे कुछ नहीं कूदे इट्स माय चॉइस मैं उन्हें अधूपिया शब घंटा मेरी भाई भी भूल दिया बॉल करो हार्ड जैसे बैचिंग भूतिया फिर शोए बकते मेरा फ्लो टपके जैसे ब्रूस ली कितने लौंडों ने भाई मेरी चूस ली करना चाहते मेरे से दोस्ती बोल के ब्रोस की मन में है फिर इसलिए तो क्लोज नहीं को शुक्रिया किया ओवरडोज नहीं मेरे देख के बहुत काले दिन बहुत काले दिल सबसे मैं ऊपर ना मेरा आला दिन नहीं घर में दोस्त का लाइट छुपे भरी भरी रोशनी रात को मैं तारे गिन रहा एक भी नहीं है दिल ये बावे तो
सिर्फ ही नहीं है
नस पे चढ़ा मैं ब्रेक नहीं है मुझे से नहीं है दो क्योंकि एक ही सही है मेरी एक्स में से बहुत टाइम लेके गई है मेरी चील की उड़ान उसमें चेंज नहीं है लौंडे पत्ते बस डायल जिन में रेंज नहीं है ऐसे आते नहीं है आवाज क्योंकि पेन ही नहीं है हाथ पे क्या करे बातें बोल कैमरा ऑन वीडियो काटे मन बना के तू कर ले फिर पाक में दोस्तों को लपेट लूंगा तेरे साथ में बाबा मुझे नहीं आती है बातें समझ जो आती वो आधे से ज्यादा हवा में तेरी 100 से ज्यादा छोटे हम छापते माचो है तेरी 2 कौड़ी का फ्लेक्स मेरी बंदी से बेहतर हम ब्लेस तू एक संभाल मेरे 2 बिजनेस जो भी मैं करता फिटनेस पिच
सीधा मौत 2023
ट्राई
सूरत बचकांड रैपरों के लिए मौत यस सर यहाँ से आओ वहाँ से जाओ चलो को जॉइन कर
Hey yo, hey, pass me the fucking joint, yo. Chato, joint it. Dena lawkar. You know we artists, man. We like to keep our focus and create, you know, stay on track, make beautiful fucking music.
Yes, sir.
But this business side of it, this shit is fucked up.
Fuck to him, bro.
कळत नाही लोकांना.
माँ कैसा भाई
चुत्या साले. हे करा ते करा.
तू बुंड में रहना जाके
गांडीत टाका कॉन्ट्रॅक्ट. Ancient.
I can't decide क्या खौफ है जदे कुछ सांप ही सांप है रहती आखिर
Bro, this chomdu groups. Last song.
भाई कुछ दिन पहले मेरे एक दोस्त ने मेरे से पूछा भाई थोड़ी जरूरत है 11,000 रुपए पड़े आप पे मैंने कहा भाई बिल्कुल पड़े पता है 6 साल पहले मेरे को 11,000 कमाने के लिए 11 दिन काम करना पड़ता भाई हमने अभी 16 बार के लिए वीडियो उठाई है जिसको लिखने और रिकॉर्ड करने में 5 घंटे से ज्यादा नहीं लगेगा भाई 11 दिन छोड़ उन 5 घंटों में
मेरे को याद कराना मेरे को इसकी बैटरी चेक करनी है
50,000 से ज्यादा कमा रहे थे हम दोनों
अरे यार मैं वहाँ पे चार्ज लगाता यार
Hey, it's a penmanship and I let it trip to the big items. Hey, मेरे बहुत known game बना हुआ
आजा मेरे शहर पर ट्रैक
यहाँ बड़े combo down the Django है कि थोड़े crazy mans. जोड़े चले bouncer तेरा है जेब में मेरी मेरा street cut max. ऐसे get paid in advance.
थोड़ा चलन बैंस
बड़ा भाई चला था Benz.
छोटा बच्चा बात तो चैंस
दोनों भाई चला थे Gent.
नो टर्न और टैम
है बहुत महंगा ये pen
मुझे अच्छे से आता है करना फैन मुझे अच्छे से आता है करना फैन मुझे अच्छे से आता है भरना को सेम तेरी साथ वाली ज़्यादा पसंद तेरी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा है तेरी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा है रंग तेरी
जाना तो जा बिन मन में तो पेन में से घर वाली म्यूजिक है बाहर वाली बिजनेस है एक तेरी खुशी और एक तेरी बहुत सारा
इको
मोटी मोटी जेब पे बड़ी बड़ी लुई होल्ड द शिट डाउन ऑन द मैप पूरा खुद ही ना लोगों की शक्ल है क्यों आप आप सूजी कवि कहना चाहते हैं कि जब कवि ने आपके पिताजी के पैसों का कभी खाया ही नहीं है तो बोला तू कैसे कला किसकी कैसे बना खुद को पहले बना खुद के पैसे कवा खुद के जैसे बड़ा खुद के पैसे संभाल अपने लहजे बना अपनी लेवे और चल अपनी लय पे ना चल किसका सह या चलूं मैं वैसे पर अपनों पे आया तो रैप्टे पे सीखा हूं सबको से अपनों के झगड़ों से कल से और परसों से हाथों से फिसल के बहते हुए लम्हों से लौंडों के खामखा बंदी के झगड़ों से फिर उन्हीं बंदी के पास और नखरों से, मम्मी की फिक्र से, पापा के नशों से सीखा, गरीबी से सीखा, तवज्जो से सीखा के अपनों को रखने का दिल में, और दिल से जो उतरे वे लौड़ों पे बजो बे। हम जैसा कभी नहीं बनोगे ना, फुद्दू से लौंडों को भरू भी ना, कैटलॉग ऐसा कि मरू भी ना, जीते जा रहा जुटे और वो जलाते गई, मैं बनाता गया रह गया थोड़ा माल जेब में, फ्लाइट थी अभी जिन्हें वो भी दबा दिया कहीं, साला डरा भी ना बेटा सरा भी नहीं, और फुद्दू लौंडा ऐसा करे रैप नहीं, हमसे डरता ये बूथ, डरेगा नहीं कैसे हूँ भरता जब बूथ है, गंदा ही रूप है जनता सबूत, अब इन रैपरों को खाने में कंटाल है, डूब पर एक काम है, लौंडे दोनों भरे बुस्सी ऐसी, मेरी माँ भी पूछे कहाँ से आ रहा पैसा बेटा, वो भी परेशान है, तो भी घूमूं सड़कों में गलियों में, चेन बार चलूं स्लो तेज, यहाँ पे चले मेरा नाम है सर।
और ये रैप वैप से हटके बता रहा हूँ भाई तुम्हें, जेबें ऐसे बड़ी होती रहती है, दिल छोटे हो जाते हैं लोगों के, और बहुतों के दिल उनकी जेबों से ज़्यादा छोटे होते हैं, तो मेहनत से पैसा बनाओ, पैसे से वक्त बनाओ, वक्त अपने चाहने वालों के साथ बिताओ, पहले खुद ऊपर जाओ, फिर दूसरों के लिए राह बनाओ, बस आगे बढ़ते जाओ। धन्यवाद।
मैनिफेस्टिंग में भाई चला था बैंड, छोड़ो भाई चला था चैन, दोनों भाई चला था गेम्स, तो भाई 10 out of 10। चलो ओके ओके ओके, बस बस बस। We'll take break right after no breaks, just logged in, no breaking times. Full screen locked in.
To the final class. This is going to be the final class that you will need to watch in your whole entire trading career to understand how to trade. I'm talking about in this 10-hour video, I am literally going to teach you from 0 to 100%. From the point that you are literally going to be able to execute a trade with me inside of this video live. Whatever I do on my phone, you pause the video, you do it on your phone. Whatever I do on my charts, you pause the video, you do it on your chart. I'm going to take you through the most step-by-step process that I have personally ever created or ever even seen online on a complete tutorial on how to teach you trading from 0 to 100%. This is everything in one spot. I swear to God, I wish I had this video when I started my trading journey back in 2019, 2018, when I was learning how to trade online. Nobody created tutorials like this. There was a bunch of different videos throughout the whole entire internet, and I kind of had to piece them all together. And by the time that I pieced them all together, I simply had an information overload and I didn't know what I actually needed and what I didn't actually need. In this video, I'm going to teach you everything that you need, and I'm going to briefly explain to you what you don't need so you don't have to simply waste time on it. Because the truth of the matter is that right now in trading, everybody is having a massive opportunity to make money online. The more time that you waste having the lack of knowledge and not having the proper education to go and trade, the more time you are missing out on these profits. So I'm going to make everything on this one video, so all you have to do is just watch it from 0 to the end. You're going to know exactly how to be able to go out there and execute trades live in the market. Now, I have really been thinking about doing this video for quite some time. I just haven't had the time to actually get it done. But when I actually now decided to get this video done, I wanted to this be more than just an information overload video. Like, I wanted you to practice this in real time. You're actually able to go out there and execute live based off of this video. Something that you actually get value from, and you're actually able to go out to the market and properly do it for yourself. Now, you're probably asking, who is this guy that's going to be talking to me for the next 10 hours, and is he even a reliable source? I've been trading the currency market for the last 7 years, and it took me about 3 years to become a profitable trader. I was 2.5 years trying to figure out how to make money online when it comes to trading, and after 2 years of watching endless amounts of videos and failing, I finally figured it out. But it really wasn't always about trading. I first wanted to make money online, but before making money online, I was working at Dunkin' Donuts. Before working at Dunkin' Donuts, I worked at Crocs, Aeropostale, Santa's Enchanted Forest, and I even tried to get a job at a valet parking, but I never got hired. I was just a regular high school student that got out of high school and did not want to go work the regular 9 to 5. I wanted to get out of high school and become a successful person. I wanted to become a millionaire. I remember as the semester was finishing, my professor came up to me and he woke me up from a nap and he was like, hey, just letting you know right now, you can not come back tomorrow or not even finish this semester. Even if you were to ace every single one of the next test, you're still going to fail the class. And I said, you know what? Thanks, man. It just saved me the next 2 months of my life because I was going to keep coming in here and falling asleep. Fast forward for the next 2 months, I kept going to campus because my parents were tracking my location, and I had to go to school because they would, kick me out of the house, ground me if I wasn't going to school. And I was going to school to just figure out how to make money online. I was figuring out a way on how to do drop shipping, which I tried to buy multiple different products, but my credit card limit wasn't enough. So I couldn't have enough inventory. Tried that for a little bit, dabbled with it, never had success. And then I tried Airbnb arbitrage. So on my free time, as soon as I finished work and got out of the school, just sitting in the library trying to figure out how to find the good properties for Airbnb arbitrage, I realized that when I did find a good property, I didn't have the proper credit. I didn't have the bank statements to sign a lease, so then I can sublease it, put on Airbnb, so on and so forth. And I pretty much wasted about 6 months of my life trying to make money online when it came across, these different businesses. And then one day, one of my friends invites me to this event where they're teaching trading. I'm like, oh, dude, I've heard of this stuff before. Supposedly it's a scam. It's not real. He said, you know what's the worst that can happen? I lose $100. Really all I have at the time to risk on this. I go to the event, I get sold on the whole entire MLM product, multi-level marketing, and what that really did is that it opened the doors to what trading is and the possibility that it actually has. I was there for probably 30 days. I realized that these multi-level marketing companies don't teach you how to trade, they just teach you what it is, but that opened the gates for me to actually go out there and try and figure it out. So I tried to go on with stocks, and I realized in order for me to actually create a account in a stock market or with a stock brokerage for you to actually go trade, it was a minimum of $25,000. That was back in 2018, 2019 when I was starting to trade. I didn't have $20,000, $25,000 to open up a trading account. So then I heard that there's this Forex market, it's foreign exchange, where the entry barrier is $100, $50, and you have leverage up to 1 to 1,000. And then that means you have a lot more buying power in your money. The markets are open 24/5 compared to the stock market. They're open 9 to 5, 5 days a week. I said, you know what? This is a lot more attractive. Let me actually go head first into this. And little did I know that I was going to be walking into one of the longest, darkest, and loneliest journeys that I have ever been. And that journey began by myself in the library at Miami-Dade College campus. I was a whole entire year going to Miami-Dade College campus. Instead of me learning English or learning mathematics or whatever they were teaching me in criminal justice, I was learning what the foreign exchange market was. Watching endless amounts of videos on YouTube, buying a bunch of different courses, trying to see if it all worked, where it all came down to one simple thing. And all of that I'm going to be teaching it to you guys in this video completely for free. And it's all going to be in one spot. I had to piece so many different videos together that literally, that is probably what took the most amount of time. Getting all the information that was on the internet, hearing the same thing 7 different ways, realizing I'm watching the same thing from a different person saying it in a different way, and then having to minimize all that information for it to come down to one thing. And that is exactly what I'm going to be doing in this video today. And it almost feels like it went by extremely fast now that time has gone by, but after 6 months of me just trying to put all this information together, lost a couple $1,000. Another 6 months went by, and then I was supposed to be graduating from college, getting my AA on pretty much year 2, and my parents realized that I was not going to college, and there I had to pretty much break them the news that I was doing this whole trading stuff, and I was probably about a year and a couple months in, and I was so deeply invested that I had no other choice but to continue to go. There was no way I was going to continue and figuring out a different way on how to make money online once I've already invested a whole entire year into this and things were starting to click, or at least I thought they were at the time. So I basically broke the news to my parents. I said, hey, I'm trying this whole trading stuff. I need you guys just to give me some time to figure it out. My parents did not believe in me. They weren't supportive of it, and I wouldn't either. I have old school Cuban parents that they barely know how to use WhatsApp. They don't speak English, and they honestly just all they understand is work on a regular job, and that's how you're going to become successful. It's not their fault. They were raised differently, but I knew that there was different ways on how to make money in this world, especially online. So after about a year and a half, my parents aren't supporting me. I'm just kind of living there at the house. I'm literally trading from my mom's closet. We have a closet downstairs, and I'm just trading out of that closet. And I'd say probably for the next 6 to 8 months, it was a battle in between myself and understanding the actual markets. So now I know exactly what trading is, how it works, but now I'm just trying to figure out these patterns and if there really is one behind it. And I'd say after 6 months, it got to the point where I was seeing the patterns. I would see things happen over and over again, but I just wasn't entering at the exact point. I was either entering too late, I was entering too early, and I was probably closing out my profits too short, my stop losses were too tight. I was just doing a lot of minor mistakes that all accumulatively made me a unprofitable trader. Right around the 2-year mark, my parents once again are pressuring me. What am I going to do with my life? And I just kept asking for time. So I'm still working at Dunkin' Donuts, dabbling other jobs, but I'm trying to dedicate as much time as I possibly can to trading. Now, at this point, I seek some different types of more serious mentorships. I understand a little bit more. You know, you need an actual strategy for you to actually become a profitable trader. And right around the 2.5-year mark, I went from losing consistently for 2.5 years to having my first ever break-even month. I'm like, well, I think I might be doing something right, because you know what, this month I didn't blow any accounts, I didn't lose any profit from accounts. Like, I think I'm onto something. The month after that, so 2 years and about 7 months, I had another break-even month, but a little bit slightly in profit, probably 1%. And then the month after that, I was in profit 10%. I went from being an extremely unprofitable trader to then a break-even trader to then having my first profitable month. All of that in the span of nearly 3 years. And in this video, I'm going to shorten what I learned in 3 years, all of the mistakes that I did, all the unnecessary information that I had in just a one class setting. This is going to save you guys so much time, so much headache that I wish I had this when I got started. After my first profitable month, everything literally just clicked. I started going from break-even months to a profitable months to then just this becoming the new normal. All I had to realistically do was look back at my actual winning month and be like, what did I do right there? If that's what worked, let me just double down on it when I see it again, and then again and again and again. And then you fast forward for another year. So I'm about 3.5 years into my journey. I am now a full-time trader. I think on my 3rd year, 3 years and 1 month, I left Dunkin' Donuts, left my job, and I'm now just a full-time profitable trader. Told my parents that it's actually working. They're seeing the money, they're believing it. And then right around my 4th year, I decided to just start posting on social media, because you know, that was the only way to pretty much meet people as a trader. Because if you're a trader, you're kind of in an office like this, you're just home 24/7. You're never going to really engage with anybody, because you don't need to go out to a social setting for anything. Everything you could just do it from home. And all of my friends that I had in my journey as I was learning trading, all of my high school friends, I pretty much separated myself from them because they didn't believe in my journey. They didn't understand what it was, and they were causing me so much stress trying to convince them of what it is and that it's actually possible, that it was distracting me from the journey. So at this point in my journey, I'm really by myself, and I'm just trying to open up my doors to new people, just meet people, maybe meet some new girls, attract girls, because I'm realistically just making a decent amount of money by clicking a couple buttons, and I have so much free time throughout the day. And like a hurricane or like a snowstorm or whatever you want to call it, it just blew up. I started posting, you know, I bought my first supercar, which is an Audi R8. I started posting profits. I'm making a couple $1,000s every single day. And out of nowhere, this created this massive community of other people wanting to learn how to do the same thing. The questions that I was getting asked were pretty simple questions. And I decided to say, you know what, let me just start helping people. And I just started posting YouTube videos, and fast forward another 3-4 years, and we're here, where I arguably think I have one of the biggest trading communities in the industry, and I have helped thousands of people all around the world and shortened their learning curve from years to months, and gotten people to make tens of mistakes a day to maybe one a week, and then them learning from that and using those losses that they avoid to optimize and actually be able to risk the correct amount of money on the right markets. So it all went from being a unprofitable trader by himself to then developing a skill set without even knowing it, posting it accidentally on social media, it blowing up, now to the point where I just changed traders' lives all around the world. And now this video is for you. And the only reason why I gave you this whole entire backstory is so you understand at the point where I am right now in my journey. I have so much free time that all I genuinely have passion about right now is just helping other people. I am literally dedicating more than 10 hours to make this video for you, because this video is gonna probably be 10 hours when I'm done with it. But for me to record it, for it to all get shortened down to the point where I probably put 20-25 hours into this video. I'm doing this for you. So all I ask for you is to literally only focus on this video. And if by the end of this video you did not learn anything, you have absolutely no value, hit the unsubscribe button, block me, never look at me ever again, don't believe me. But I am putting so much time and so much effort into this video because I personally really do wish I saw one of these videos when I got started in my journey. So if you have any question, if you have any concern, just go back, pause the video, write down notes. If I were to show you the amounts of notes that I took when I was learning in my journey, I think I wrote down the same thing 15 different times, because I was watching 15 of the same videos just in different ways from different people. And that confused me so much because everybody was saying it in a different way. And what I can guarantee you is, in order for you to become a profitable trader like me, there is no other video that you need to watch online, including my own, because this video is literally going to teach you every single topic, every single subject that you need to know to understand the markets exactly that I do. Once this video is finished, the only thing that separates you and I is going to be experience. That is what's going to lead you to become a profitable trader. So right now, if you're driving, you're at work, you're on a lunch break, and you started this video, make sure you pause it, put a bookmark on it, and come back to it when you're ready to sit down and actually focus. Do not half-ass this video. Do not put it on 2x. The points of trading is for you to take your time with it. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And you attempting to learn this information faster is actually going to slow you down, because you trying to speed things up and get all this information as fast as you can, it actually slows you down because you're not going to process it and understand it, and you're going to have to come back and watch it again. So it's going to actually take you double the amount of time. No matter how fast you want to learn this, it takes time, it takes repetition, and you need to understand this is a brand new language. And a perfect analogy that I can put is, let's say you're going to go build a house, and the same day you buy the land, that same exact day you have the builders, you have the plumbers, you have the roofers, you have the carpenters, you have the landscapers, everything. You cannot have the roofers put on the roof if the builders haven't even built up the walls. You cannot have the gardeners put up the garden if they haven't finished the construction. You're gonna mess up your garden. Everything is a step-by-step process, and it takes time. And that is exactly what this video is intended to do. It's intended to go step by step in the correct order, and for it to be taken my time for me to explain to you so you understand it at the correct time. Now, with that being said, let's officially begin this video. And if you are not 100% ready to write down notes, if you don't have your notepad out, if you're not in a calm setting, if you're not locked in, you don't have your headphones in, do not watch this video. Click the pause button and come back when you're ready. It's going to be a lot more effective that you watch this video when you are 100% prepared to actually watch this video. So you take notes effectively and you understand everything effectively. So with that being said, let's begin. So what is this trading stuff? What is this Forex? What is this stocks? What is this crypto, indices, commodities, futures? What is this charts? What is trading? Well, I'm sure we've all seen charts, right? This is what a chart is. A chart is when something goes up or something goes down. You've probably seen it either on an actual candlestick format like that, or you've seen it on a line chart like this. These are different ways on how the markets are seen. You can see it on a line chart, you can see it on a bunch of different ways, and don't worry, we're gonna get into all of those different ways in just a second. But what exactly is trading? Well, trading is when you're literally doing what it says. When you are trading, you're trading one thing for another. Now, some people think when it comes to the Forex exchange market, the foreign exchange market, that you're actually trading one currency for the other. Some people think that, oh, the euro and the dollar, you're actually buying the euro and you're exchanging it for the dollar, or you're selling the dollar and then buying the euro. At no point are you ever actually doing that. You're essentially just betting that something's going to be going up or something that's going to be going down. We're going to get into all of that in just a second. Now, before I actually get into the charts and I show you how to actually read the markets, I first need to teach you and educate you on the actual markets. What are these markets? What do they consist of? How do, like, when I actually buy a currency, am I actually owning it? Like, do I actually buy the euro? Does that mean that I own the euro? If I actually were to buy gold, does that mean that I actually own gold? If I were to trade the NASDAQ, do I actually own a piece of a company? So let me break down these actual markets and what they consist of, right? So right here, we're going to have all of the main markets that are going to run the trading industry or the trading niche. And these are in order. The first market is going to be the foreign exchange market, also known as the Forex market, where every single day it moves anywhere from 7.5 to $8 trillion on a daily basis. This is not only the largest market in the world, but it is actually decentralized and it is open 24/5. Now, when I started trading in 2018, 2019, I remember reading this exact same sentence right here, and it was anywhere from 5 to $6.5 trillion. The fact that in just 5-6 years, this has nearly almost added $3 trillion into trading volume is absolutely absurd to me. This just shows the amount of opportunity that is inside of the foreign exchange market. So the beauty of this market is that it is available 24/5. You can pretty much trade it whenever you want throughout the week. And that is the beauty of the foreign exchange market. It is the most volatile market, has the most opportunity in it, and it is available the most out of any single market. Next is going to be the stock market, which you've all heard of, the New York Stock Exchange. That's where people would trade on the trading floor. And this is where the global stock market trade. And it's anywhere from 200 billion to 300 billion on a daily amount. So you can realize the magnitude and the size of the foreign exchange market. It is nearly 15 times bigger, 20 times bigger on a daily basis, because you're trading every single currency in the world. Right here in the global stock market, you're pretty much just trading around the US, mainly around the NASDAQ and all of these other different USA companies. Next, we have the commodity market, which is going to consist of futures, oil, gold, wheat, and the daily volume from this can vary in a couple of $1 billion, but it's around 100 billion on a daily basis. Now, when you go trade the commodities markets, when you go, let's say you're going to go buy gold, for example, doesn't mean you actually are going to own a piece of gold. You're just betting, you're basically betting with the markets that gold is going to go up in price. That's pretty much it. When you go buy oil or you go sell oil, at no point are you actually owning any oil. It's all digital currency. It's all money on the screen. They're basically making an educated bet if this market is going to go up or it's going to go down. At no point do you ever own anything when trading any of these markets, except the cryptocurrency markets. The cryptocurrency market has an average volume of 100 to 200 billion in day trading volume, but it is extremely volatile and is mainly controlled by Bitcoin and Ethereum and a couple of other stable coins. Now, obviously, the problem with cryptocurrency is there's, no centralization around it. It's completely decentralized, very much how it is when it comes to the foreign exchange market. But these currencies are backed by countries. They've been backed by hundreds of years. The crypto market is still fairly new. It's been around for, let's call it 20 years at the max, 25 years. And it's something that is completely decentralized, and when you actually trade a cryptocurrency, let's say you're trading Bitcoin, you actually own it. If you trade Bitcoin and it goes up, you make money with it. If you trade Ethereum and it goes down, you lose money with it. Same, very similar how it works with the foreign exchange market, but when you're trading the foreign exchange market, at no given point do you actually own some of the actual currency. Let's say I'm trading Euro USD, at no point do I actually own Euro or do I own USD. So all of these, I'm going to go into great detail of how you can actually trade them, which ones you should be trading, which ones you shouldn't be trading, and how you can actually build a profitable strategy to actually trade on these markets. So these are going to be the main markets that are going to be out in the markets and that you should have any interest in trading them. Any markets outside of these, they simply don't have enough trading volume, and if they don't have enough volume, which is big numbers like this, the odds of you becoming a profitable trader are much more difficult, because lack of volatility means lack of opportunity. You want to make sure that you are in a market that has a fair amount of volatility, not too much, because then you're prone to getting major losses, and all of that I'll explain later into the video as well. But you want to make sure that you have a decent amount of volatility so you can have good opportunity to actually make money when it comes to trading. But I personally have been trading the foreign exchange market for the last 7 years successfully. dabbling a little bit with commodities, and I just have been investing into crypto when it comes to long term. This is my form of an asset. I would much rather put multiple six figures into a digital currency where it can make me 20-30% annually compared to putting it into real estate where, let's say, it can make me those same returns, but I have to deal with less headache. I've never personally traded the stock market just because I am not interested in trading in a market that does not have anywhere near as much volume or availability as the foreign exchange market. I've traded the NASDAQ, I've traded the SPX 500 and all of these other stock markets, and you can also do that in the foreign exchange market. And all of that, we're going to be breaking that into this video. And we're going to be actually taking a trade together. You're going to be able to pause the video, look at the profits or losses on your actual end, and then there you're going to be able to have a clear understanding of how to actually do this for yourself. And now, before we get right started into what is actually trading, I want to bust every single myth that is out there online. All of the myths that my parents thought that this was, that even including myself thought this was, or just the people that have an opinion on something that they're just simply not educated on. And there's nothing wrong with having an opinion, but it's always good to get educated on it. So I'm going to bust every single myth on what trading isn't. Trading isn't a Ponzi scheme. There is Ponzi schemes out there on people creating systems around trading. That is entirely true, but trading itself is not a Ponzi scheme. Like, people are just essentially betting that something is going to go up in value or that it's going to go down in value. If it goes up in value, people make money. If it goes down in value, people lose money. That is what trading is. So no, it's not a Ponzi scheme. Also, in order for you to actually become a trader, you don't need to be a mathematician. You don't need to go to college, you don't need to get a degree, you don't need to be a genius. To be fair, I graduated high school with nearly a 1.7 GPA, I think it was, or a 2.0 GPA. I can't even remember what it was. I barely passed high school. I failed at college. I was not the smartest kid in class. But what I did do was show up every single day to try and figure this out. I had a driving mindset that was going to lead me to success, but I did not know what was the root square of 75 when a car is driving at 50 miles an hour and x equals 5. I have no idea to this day what that is, and I don't need to, and I've had 2 Bugattis, so I think I've done very well. Trading is not something that you need to have habits for. You don't need to wake up every single day and meditate. You don't need to wake up and light up a candle. Read a book, set a certain light, all of that Instagram, TikTok stuff, that is not real. do not need any of these morning routines in order for you to become a successful trader. And understand how to read the markets. I can be looking at the markets in front of my computer. I can be looking at it on my phone about to board onto a flight. I can be looking at it while I'm driving, while I'm at the beach, while I'm doing anything. All I need is a screen and decent amount of internet, and I'm able to go ahead. And look at the markets. You don't need to set up a whole entire ambiance around you to actually read and understand the markets. If you know how to read it, you know how to read it. And trading is also something that a lot of people think like, oh, we're gonna wait for price to come all the way to the bottom so we buy. We're going to sell all the way at the top. We do not try and predict tops or bottoms. Actually, on the complete way at the top, we do not try and predict tops or bottoms. Actually, on the complete contrary, I want the market to be moving up very aggressively, and I want to buy with that market. The trend is your friend. I've had that quote on my desk, I think, for 7 years. The trend is your friend. I am not here to create a trend. I'm not here to break a trend. I'm here to trade with the trend. Do you think it's easier to swim against the currents or with it? And here in trading, we're here to swim with the current. At no point are we ever trying to predict something when it hits all the way at the bottom and then we buy, or something when it hits all the way at the top and then we sell. We trade with the trends. And another one of the biggest misconceptions that people have is that they think that they need to be in front of the markets all day in order for them to actually read the market and become a profitable trader. Do you need to be in front of the markets for a long period of time for you to actually understand how the markets move? Yes. But once you get it, you don't need to be in front of them. markets every single day. Another one of the biggest misconceptions that traders have, or people in general when they get started into trading, is that you need to be in front of the markets all day, every single day in order for you to be a trader and a profitable trader. That cannot be further from the truth. The less amount of time that you spend in front of the markets, the more amount of money that you're going to make. It's very counterintuitive because at the beginning, you actually need to spend a lot of time so you can learn and practice it. But once you understand the skill set, then you don't need to be in front of the markets all day, every single day. It's like when you're going to go learn a language. Let's say you're going to learn Chinese, for example. It's your first time learning Chinese. Are you going to have to spend more time than the regular person that wants to learn Chinese in the class? Yes, you're going to have to spend more time. But after you learning Chinese and being in the class for an extra hour every single day for the last 6 months, it gets to the point where you no longer have to be in class for you to understand Chinese and to perfect it. You could be listening to some music. You could be interacting with people on the street. That is where you practice it and you perfect it. And then you don't need to speak Chinese every single day in order for you to master and perfect it. You just need to make it part of your normal routine and it just becomes second nature. Once you learn it, you're not going to unlearn it. It's the exact same thing with trading. Once you learn it, you don't need to be in front of the markets every single day to trade. You only trade when it's time to trade. And by far, probably the most important one. People think you need money to make money in trading. And I'm going to answer this. The answer is true. You do need money to make money, but you don't need a lot of money to get. Involved into trading.
खत्म हो गया बाप, खत्म हो गया।
and make a decent amount of money. You can get started with a couple $100, maybe a couple $1,000, and that is going to lead you to have returns equally to what you invest. It is all based off of risk to reward. If you risk $100, you're gonna make a couple $100. If you risk a couple $1,000, you're gonna make a couple $1,000. You're not going to turn a one single hand. $100 bill or a couple $100 bills into a quintillion. That's not going to happen. Can you multiply it and scale it over time with proper risk? Management, yes, but you don't need a large amount of money to get involved. And people have this conception as well as soon as they put the money into the market, it's automatically gone. No, that is the complete opposite. You actually predetermine how much you want to risk of the capital that you put into trading every single time. Let's say right now I go and deposit $100 into the broker that I'm going to be using. That doesn't mean that that $100 is invested right away. That just means that the money is inside of a platform that then I can go and execute one of these positions on. Now, before I execute that position, I'm going to pre-calculate my risk on my $100. I only feel comfortable risking $10 on this trade. That's all I'm going to lose. I'm going to be teaching you guys on how to do that throughout this whole entire video. But risk on my $100. I only feel comfortable risking $10 on this trade. That's all I'm going to lose. And I'm going to be teaching you guys on how to do that throughout this whole entire video, but I want to make it extremely clear what trading is not. Okay, so now that you understand that there is different types of markets out there, you have the currency market, commodity stocks, you have crypto, there's many different types of traders that execute on these type of markets. For example, we can have what is called a position trader, which these are also known as whales, which these traders happen to take anywhere from 1 to 2 positions a month. These are people that have large sums of monies and their realistic positions a month, which these traders called a position trader. Which these are also known as whales, which these traders happen to take. Anywhere from 1 to 2 positions a month. These are people that have large sums of money. And they're realistically not interested in being active every single day or every single. So now, moving on, now that you understand that there's many different markets out there, you have the foreign exchange, the stocks, the crypto, all of these different markets, there's different types of ways of trading these markets. And there's many different types of traders that execute these markets. Now, you can trade these markets as if you were to be a position trader, a swing trader, day trader, or a scalper. You can be any one of these traders and execute this style of trading on any one of those markets. For example, if you were to be a position trader, these are also considered whales because they are risking large sums of money either once or twice a month on certain positions that they take. They aim to have anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4% a month, realistically with minimal effort, minimal activity, and just large sums of money. These large sums of money this is why they're called whales and position trading, but this is more for kind of institution style and people that aren't really active in front of the markets every single day. Can you make money as a position trader? Of course, but it does require large sums of money because you're looking to target bigger trades. So you're going to have very, very, very big take profits. very, very, very big stop losses. I've attempted this style of trading in the past. It's just very expensive because you have to risk large amounts of money because you get charged every single time you hold a position, and I'm going to get into all that stuff later into the video. But this is a future way of, I think everybody will eventually become a trader of as you progress throughout this whole entire chain. Next, we have a swing trader. So a swing trader is somebody that takes anywhere from 4 to 5 positions a month, and these positions that they take are not as big as the positions traders, but they are decently big trades. And these trades happen to have the best risk to reward out of any one of the traders. The swing traders are the ones that look on the higher time frames but still incorporate the lower time frames to have entries and have great risk rewards. I personally myself am a mix or a hybrid of a swing trader and a day trader. And this has led me to be able to have the sniper entries of a day trader and the take profits and the great risk to rewards and the big trades because of the swing trading approach. So a swing trader takes anywhere from 4 to 5 trades a month. The trades that they take are very sniper, very accurate, and they tend to be probably one of the more patient traders next to the position trade. Next to that, we have a day trader. So a day trader are somebody that are obviously most commonly known in the trade industry. We all know trading because of day trading. You trade every single day, but that doesn't mean that you're actually trading every single day, but you're more or less looking to be active either 2 to 3 times a week on a market. Really depends the types of opportunities that get, because typically if you were to enter a trade today, it should hit your take profit today. Maybe it can overlap into tomorrow. That's why you take anywhere from 2 to 3, maybe even 4 trades a week on the higher end. Day traders tend to have anywhere from a 40 to 50% win rate, but obviously they're taking a lot of positions and the risk to reward isn't as high. A swing trader's win rate tends to be anywhere from 60 to 65% because they're taking less trades, which the quality means that they're much better. And then a swing trader's win rate tends to be anywhere from 70 to 65%, but their risk to reward tends to be even greater than that. Last but not least, or like I would like to say, definitely least, is going to be a scalper. Scalp trading is probably what every single person thinks that they are when they come into trading, because people think that the more amount of positions that you are in, the more money that you will make, and that cannot be further from the truth. A scalper is somebody that tries to take 2 to 3 trades every single day, a trade every single day, and that actually overexposes yourself and puts you at more risk, because the more you get involved into the market, the more risk you are in. The more you're actually trading, the more odds you have of losing. The less you trade, the less likely you are to lose. So then you might ask me, wait, Alex, so then how do you actually make money if you're not involved? You make money by entering the right trade at the right spot and you let it ride. You make money while the market moves. You don't make money by getting involved into the market. Two very, very big they're two completely different things, and the quicker you understand that, the quicker you're going to make money in trading. You don't make money in trading by getting involved. You make money in trading by getting involved at the right time, at the right place, and let the market move. Let the market do its thing. Let it create the market structure, let it go up, let it go down, whatever you're doing with it, and that's where you make the money. Every single time you enter a position, you're adding more risk to your account, which in turn can end up to you losing. Yes, it could also mean that you can make money, but nowhere near as if you were to enter one solid position and you let it run. If this doesn't make sense right now, don't worry, it's all going to click throughout this video. Right now, I just want you to have a deep understanding of the different types of traders that there is out there. My personal favorite is going to be a day trader or a swing trader, and then the happy medium right in the middle. Everybody starts off as a scalp trader because they want to enter a bunch of positions thinking they're going to make more money, but then they end up developing and growing as a person and become a day trader. These are the main types of traders that go and execute on either the foreign exchange market, the stock market, or the crypto market. Okay, so now that you understand that what type of markets you're going to be trading, the type of trader that you can be on this market, let's actually start breaking down the exact markets that you are going to be trading. We'll figure out what type of trader you are later in this journey and see which one makes the most sense for you. But the most important thing that you understand is what type of markets you're going to be trading. So we're going to be breaking down the foreign exchange markets. This is the most volatile markets, the markets with the most amounts of opportunity, and it gives you the most possibility to make the most amount of money. So we're going to be breaking down a forex pair, a currency pair, a market that is consisted of currency, right? So as you can tell, all of these markets here to my right hand side, they're all different types of currency markets. The USD versus the CAD, the pound versus the Canadian, the Australian versus the Canadian. And don't worry, I'm going to teach you how to set up this whole trading view, all of this Chinese that you think this is a new language. language to you, don't worry, I'm going to help you set all of this up. But we're going to first start off by breaking down what is a currency pair and how does this even work. Well, in order for you to trade the foreign exchange market, you have to trade one currency against the other. You're basically betting that one is going to get stronger than the other, or that one's going to get weaker than the other, which in hands is the same exact thing. If something gets stronger, that means the other gets weaker. It's very simple. So all we are doing when we are trading a currency market is we are betting that something is either going to go up or betting that something is going to go down. At no given point, if I'm trading the Euro USD, for example, which is this market that we have here, at no point am I ever actually owning any actual euro, or am I actually ever selling the dollar against the euro or buying the euro against the dollar. If I'm trading the Canadian dollar versus the pound, at no point do I actually own any physical Canadian dollars or do I have any British pounds. At no given point. All I am doing is I am betting that one is going to get stronger than the other. So how does this betting work, you may ask? Well, it's very simple. This is a currency pair. It's made up of two different currencies. The first currency is going to be the base. So this is the base currency of the pair. Then we have the quote currency, which is the other currency pair. These two markets are constantly in a battle. Who is stronger than the other? If this market decides to continue to go to the upside and it starts creating market structure like this to the upside, that means that the euro is stronger than the dollar. If this market is then moving to the downside like this, then that means that the dollar is stronger than the euro. Now, how would I know that? How does that make sense? Well, it's very simple. Because this base currency is what's going to drive the price up. If we are currently with a very strong euro market and the euro is very, very, very strong, that is going to mean that it's stronger than the dollar and it's going to push price to the upside. If the dollar is going to become strong, then that means that it's going to be stronger than the euro and it's going to push price to the downside. So this quote currency, the best way to understand it is if it's getting strong, you want the market to go down. If this base currency is getting strong, you want this market to then go up. Now, I wanted to be very clear. When you want this market to be strong, when you want the euro to go to the upside, you want to buy this market. You're going to buy Euro USD. Once again, you're not buying any euros. You're essentially just betting that the euro is going to get stronger than the dollar for a period of time, whether that be a couple of hours, a day, a week, a month, whatever the case is. But then if you want to sell Euro USD, at no given point are you actually selling the dollar. You're just betting that the dollar is going to get stronger than the euro. So Are they both equally as important? Can they both have equally the same amount of moves? Absolutely. Just because a market is going up doesn't mean that that's going to be more probable or stronger than a market that is going down. Remember, this market going down doesn't mean that the dollar is getting weak. It actually means that it's going to be getting stronger against the euro. So whenever you are selling euro USD or selling any market, you're basically betting that this market is indeed getting stronger than this one. It really comes down to the way it represents. In this battle, well, or in any battle, if somebody is winning, that means that they are standing up and fighting, and if somebody is losing, they fall down to the floor. Well, in this market, it's actually the complete opposite, because this fight never ends. This fight is a forever going market between the dollar and the euro. Markets going up, markets going down. And whenever the markets are going up, that means that the euro is winning the fight. Whenever the markets are going down, that means that the dollar is winning the fight. But at no point does the fight ever end. The fight is always going to go on as long as we have both of these currencies. So whenever the fight is going down, that means that the dollar is getting strong, the euro is getting weak. Whenever the fight decides to continue to go back up, that means that then the euro is going to be getting stronger against the euro. That's really what it comes down to. These are two fighters fighting up and down, and then whenever they're going in one direction, that means they're getting strong. Now, what are these numbers right here, right? What is this numbers that keep going up and down? Well, this is actually probably the most important thing that you need to understand what it is, but you're never going to actually use it because you don't really care what the actual exchange rate. So these numbers right here are the exchange rate of the actual currency pair. And as you can see it right here on the live market, that's why it's 1.17. So $1.17 is going to equal 1 euro. That is really all that this is right here. So this just lets you know where the market is in terms of price, and these numbers going up and down is what's going to lead you to determine whether, okay, I want to buy or I want to sell, but at no point are you ever actually going to be looking at these numbers. These numbers just reflect what the actual charts are going to be doing. When we go to the candlestick charts, these charts will just reflect on this price right here, but this price is going to reflect on these charts. So this right here is what a currency pair is. It's a battle of both of these markets 24/5 for the rest of history. And whenever one is going up, that one's winning, and whenever this one's going down, this one is winning. There is endless amounts of currency pairs out there. I personally would trade myself 15 to 20 different ones because there's just more opportunity on the more markets that you trade, and there is more volatile currency pairs, and then there is less volatile currency pairs. Obviously, currency pairs that are less commonly known, let's say like the noggin or the Mexican peso, that don't tend to have as much volume compared to the US dollar, to the euro, or to the British pound, they're going to be a lot less volatile. Can you still trade them? Can there still be loads of opportunities? Of course. But the odds of you making big moves on those markets are very unlikely. Can you still do it? Yes. And I'm going to be educating you how to properly do that as we continue to go on throughout this video. I just first want to teach you exactly what a currency pair is and how it works, because this right here is what you will be trading 24/5, and you need to understand exactly what you are doing whenever you are trading these type of markets. And these right here are going to be known as the major currency pairs. You're going to have your euro versus the dollar, the pound versus the dollar versus the Japanese yen, the dollar versus the Swiss franc, the dollar versus the Canadian dollar, the Australian versus the dollar, and the New Zealand versus the dollar. If you can see a pattern, pattern here, they're always going to have the dollar in it. The dollar is obviously the one that is the most respected, the most valued currency in the market. It is the simple fact, and it is always going to be used against the next main currency pair. Now, some people sometimes ask, why isn't it USD versus Euro? And this is just the way the market's set up. I don't have the answer to that question. Is there any point where they're actually flipped over? I'm going to be completely honest. No, I have never even considered that. But even if it were to get flipped over, let's say it's the USD versus the Euro, it's still the exact same thing. It's just this time, instead of the dollar reflecting its strength while going down, it's going to reflect its strength while going up. Same thing for the euro. So everything remains exactly the same. This is just the way that the currency market has set it up. So these are the main currency pairs that you should be trading. And the reason why you should be trading these currency pairs is because, one, there's a lot of volatility in it, meaning that it is indeed going to give you lots of opportunities. Two, since there is a lot of volatility, that means that the cost to operate in these markets are going to be very low because people are moving constant funds inside of these pairs, so the cost to get involved is not that high. And on top of that, these tend to also be the trades that have the best moves in the right sessions. And three, these are the markets that tend to have the best moves. Now, when I mean the best moves, I mean that they actually have proper moves, because other currency markets that aren't as volatile or aren't as respected in the market, they tend to have the most random moves that cost people a lot of money, and it tends them to lose. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't trade any other markets that are not these, but I'm saying that these markets tend to have the most respected moves. They don't tend to have these major spikes. They don't tend to have these unnecessary fees, which end up potentially taking you out of your stop loss when price didn't really make it there. These are all a bit more advanced stuff, and we'll get to that throughout this whole entire video. And I trade these other markets all of the time. I trade the most random markets. I'll trade the Canadian dollar versus the Japanese yen and find great opportunities there, but I just have to understand the risk associated with trading in those currency pairs. This right here are going to be the major currency pairs and the ones that tend to have the best price to actually trade, cost less, and have the best moves. So we'll break these down with the actual strategy and how to actually trade it later into this video. Okay, so now moving on to the next subject. Now that you understand what a actual currency pair is, and you understand that they're in a constant battle up and down, and that there is a never ending on this fight, and there's never a winner. There's just some streaks where one currency is winning, and there's another streak where another currency pair is winning. Now you have to understand that this battle, this fight, has to be reflected based off of something. Like, we have to see the trail of this fight. When a currency pair is going up, it leaves a trail. When a currency pair is going down, it leaves a trail. Now we need somewhere to show us this fight. Now this fight could be shown in many different formats. You can see this fight either in a line chart formation. You can see that the euro, for example, is getting stronger, then the dollar gets stronger, then the euro gets stronger again. So this is the line chart that is representing how this fight is going. You can also have this famous bar chart, which the bar chart shows whenever it's green that the euro is getting strong. Whenever the red bar comes out, that means the dollar is getting strong, so on and so forth. Then we have the candlestick chart, which is the most commonly known in the trading industry, which is where you have the green and red candles, and that is the representation of the fight. So there's many different types of charts, and all of these charts are representing the exact same price. This right here is Euro USD, this is Euro USD, and this is Euro USD. It's just representing the fight in a different format. The best analogy that I can give you for this is, for example, let's say Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather are going to be fighting. Now, you can either watch the fight in person, or you can watch the fight on TV, or you can hear the fight over the radio, or you can simply hear the fight over a headphone, right? You're hearing, watching, you're getting the exact same feedback on the exact same fight at the exact same point. Every single point, whether it's on TV, whether it's in person, whether it's in radio, whether you're just listening to it, you're going to be hearing the same exact thing. Oh, Mike Tyson at this point was beating and knocked down Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather came back up, hit him with an uppercut, but then Mike Tyson knocked him out. Whether you are hearing that, whether you are seeing that, whether you are just listening to it, all of these are the exact same information of the battle of the currency pair up and down, just being represented in different ways. That's really all it is. And the most commonly known one is going to be the actual candlestick chart. The candlestick chart is where you're going to actually be able to trade off of the famous Japanese candlesticks and actually see patterns that constantly repeat themselves in a very effective way. These are going to be the markets that I'm going to be educating you guys on how to properly execute these trades and actually trade in these markets. The bar chart is not mainly commonly known for traders. It's used for a different type of style, which I'm not entirely sure how it works, so I can't explain something I'm not simply educated on. And if up to this point right now in my trading journey, I have literally not used it one single time, I feel like it's not necessary. I saw maybe 15 videos of this when I got started in my trading journey. None of them ever made sense, and I just simply wasted time and clouded my mind with information that I was simply never going to use and was not going to be effective in my trading style at all. So then I wasted time and not giving focus onto what actually mattered, which was the candlestick chart. That's what I'm going to do for you guys in this video. Tell you guys a little bit of what everything is, literally only focus on what matters and can remove the noise of what doesn't matter. Next, we have the line chart, which is equally important because this is going to lead you to understand the proper market structure on the time frame or on the market. That you're going to be interested in. Have an understanding that this right here is like watching the real fight in real time. These candlesticks, these wicks, these moves down, this is like you're watching the fight in person. You're getting the sweat that is falling on you. If you're sitting first row, you're hearing the roar of the audience. Like you're getting everything as real, as raw as it gets. No commercials, everything is on the spot. Think of the line chart as if you were to be watching the fight on TV. And you might be asking, why? Well, it's because this only creates these structure points once the market has actually closed. Once it can. candlestick has closed, the next one has opened. Like, this doesn't really represent a move until it is completely done. I'm going to be breaking all that down in just a second, but think of this as the next step. So first you have the live, which is real raw fight. This is happening in real time. And then this, you get commercials. Maybe it might have a 15-20 second delay just because of the way it gets transmitted. But then after that, there is nothing else that is going to be important. We're not going to be using no bar charts, and we're not going to be using the scatter plot. Neither one of these are going to be useful. They're just a different way on how to represent the fight. I am not educated on it at all. I just wanted to show you different representations of how the candlestick chart looks compared to the line chart. So now that you understand that the only two types of charts that you're going to be focusing on is going to be the line chart and the candlestick chart, let me actually just show you guys how this looks like in real time, right? So let me just remove this right here, and let's actually go to the real markets. So right now, for example, let's say we go to Euro USD. So we're going to type Euro USD here on TradingView, and we're just going to go to a random Euro USD market. Now, don't worry if you don't know how to use TradingView just yet. I'm going to help you set all that up, but I first want to educate you on how the charts work. So if we were to click this section up here, you can tell that we have our bar charts, we have our candlestick line charts, we have our hollows. There's many different ways on how you can determine whether this market is going to get stronger or weaker with all of these different types.
एक सेकंड यार, तो क्या लॉक्ड इन था, बोलना भी भूल गया यार, कितनी देर से नहीं बोला मैं. I just need little bit. My mind is broke. My mind is getting like, क्या बताऊँ मैं.
Types of formations. So now that you understand that basically the difference between the line chart, the bar chart, and the candlestick chart is really just how the fight in between the currency pair is represented, let me show you this in a real time chart, right? So for now, we're just gonna move this down, and we're gonna head over to the top section over here of Trading View, and I'm gonna show you the multiple different ways on how you can actually look at this fight. Now, don't worry, later into the video, I'm gonna show you how to set up Trading View. Which one of these options did you actually be looking at? Because I get it, this can almost seem like information overload, but I'd tell you that maybe 50% of the buttons on this website you're never going to use, and the other half of it are very simple to use, right? So let's start off with the bar chart. So right now we are looking at BTC, or we can be looking at Euro USD, or we can be looking at any single chart, right? So for us right now, since we're using Euro USD as the example, let's go to Euro USD, and as you can tell, there's many different Euro USDs. You have some on FXCM, on GVE, Oanda, Forex.com, Kraken. Probably wondering what's the difference between this Euro USD and this one. And the only difference in between this Euro USD and this one is that it's on a different server. So this is the FXCM server. So this is a broker, and this broker gets certain data feeds, and it offers Euro USD at a different price. It's the exact same market, it's just offered maybe a couple of points higher, a couple of points lower. It's really the only difference. But for example purposes, we're gonna go to this one, right? It's all going to be the same thing. So right now, this is what Euro USD looks like on the actual bar chart. So if you notice, whether it's on a bar chart, whether it's on a line chart, whether it's on a candlestick chart, you're always going to have the price be at the exact same point, 1.17301. Now that is on the ICE server. If we were to go to a different server, which let me just type it in right here. So we have 1.1301. Let's say we go to capital.com, we have it at 1.1303. The exact same chart, it's just points are minorly up or down, and the chart might look slightly different, something that you probably like barely even notice. Just gonna have a little more structure points here, less structure points here. The one that I personally use is always going to be the Oanda server. So for me, the Oanda server is the most accurate. It's based off of one of the main US regulated brokers in the US, and it's the one that I personally use for simple, I guess you could almost call it like a superstition reason, but I've never really used any other one. I'm sure I can use any other one. They are all pretty much the same. The points are off, not much. So back to the line charts, back to how these different type of markets work. We'll get into all of this different broker stuff, different markets, liquidities, and how this stuff works once we get to that point. But right now, I just want to explain to you the basic points, charts, right? So this is a line chart. So this line chart right here is exactly what the fight looks like in between Euro and the US dollar on the line chart. This is what the fight looks like on the Euro versus the US dollar on the bar chart. This is what the fight looks like on the Euro versus the US dollar on the line chart with markers. If you were to look at the area, if you were to look at the columns, if you were to look at the high-low, if you were to look at the volume footprint, I guess I don't have this option, but if you were to look at any other one, that is exactly how it looks. This right here is literally the exact same market movement. It's just the fight is being represented in different ways. The most accurate way and the cleanest way to look at the market and actually be able to develop a actual strategy and be able to predict patterns based off of how I've been doing it for the last 7 years, and I've been teaching people to do it, is based off of the candlestick. So we come over here to the trading view, and the candlestick is going to be the next one, the candlestick chart. Now I have a specific indicator which is called a no gap candlesticks, which is very easy to apply, and I'll show you guys how to apply it right now just so you can do it once we get to that point, but it'll be very easy. All you have to do is just go to indicators, type in no gap candlesticks, and I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but we'll just do it for now. You click on the no gap candlesticks, and then once you click on it, it basically pops up, and that's how you would implement the no gap candlesticks. Aside from that, I'll teach you how to actually adjust it, because right now you're probably having an overlap with your actual candlesticks, and I'll teach you how to do that just a second later into the video, because I want to get into the indicators, and I also want to explain to you how this EMA works, why I use this EMA, which one is my EMA, so on and so forth. So the candlestick charts are basically consisted of multiple different time frames based off of these candlesticks. As you can tell over here next to the type of candlesticks that I have, these candlesticks are being represented in different time frames. For example, right now we are on the 4-hour time frame, meaning this candle right here closes every 4 hours. So this candlestick right here, the way it's being closed right now, has about 38 minutes left, meaning it has been open for 3 hours and 20 minutes nearly. This candlestick closed 4 hours ago, 4 hours ago, and 4 hours ago. This is what this market looks like based off of this 4-hour time frame. If we were to go to the 2-hour time frame, for example, this happens to be a candlestick once again that closes every 2 hours. Every single one of these candlesticks is 2 hours. This candlestick right here is the 1 hour, closes as well in 38 minutes, all because the market closes in the next 40 minutes.
Bro, my mind is getting let's refresh a little bit of mood. एक बार हल्का सा रिफ्रेश मूड करेंगे, स्ट्रीक मारेंगे 2-3 घंटे की, 1-2 घंटे की, then I'll go for a coffee and then we will reset. Just had to watch something crazy and little bit nice. क्या देखें? Not refreshing.
बहुत साल हो गया ना मिले, but 1,000 miles away.
I'm coming.
यार वो सुन तेरे को DHH हार्ड प्ले और तेरे लेट्स गो समथिंग chilling. ऊपर से कुकुश I'll join the boat. I wanna shoot. Sabi pe tu. आते दिल्ली के कपड़े वाले वो कुछ जब वो कागज पूरा खोलते चाहे बंदे के ऊपर कागज पूरा तो मेरी पहचान तुझे पता क्या है मेरी पहचान है तागानी बड़े सैनी तनी पामनी मार जब करूं बोल मैं वे पर शैतान बुरे जैसे खतरनाक सबर नहीं है खबरदार हो हमसे सड़क छाप गलत बात नहीं हमसे खतरनाक अभी 2-4 हिट लिस्ट पे 2-4 मेरी छठी हिस्से खतरनाक सबर नहीं है खबरदार हो हमसे सड़क छाप गलत बात नहीं हमसे खतरनाक
अभी दो चार हिट लिस्ट पे दो चार मेरी छठी हिस्से कराची मेरा तो मांगना नहीं हिस्से तुम सुनते नीचे तो क्या मत सा लिखते ये फैशन के नाम पे सस्ते में बिकते लड़के महीनों का हफ्तों में छिकते जो उछलते सारे कुचल दिए जाते जो बच्चे वो बैठे सबर से अपने बंदों से पूछो पर क्या ही जवाब देगी तुम्हें ये कब्रें डिक्टेटर लगे हुए गेम के मेरे बैंडों पे लगी नहीं नेम प्लेट मजबूर है ये करे मेरा नेम ड्रॉप मजबूर हूँ मैं लेकिन इवन टच मी सारे खाली कैसेट उर्दू रैप मेरा घर तुम करते खाली विजिट
खतरनाक।
सबर नहीं है खबरदार हो हमसे सड़क छाप गलत बात नहीं हमसे
खतरनाक।
अभी दो चार हिट लिस्ट पे दो चार मेरी छठी हिस्से खतरनाक सबर नहीं है खबरदार हो हमसे सड़क छाप गलत बात नहीं हमसे खतरनाक अभी दो चार हिट लिस्ट पे दो चार मेरी छठी हिस्से डॉलरों में खर्चा ओवरसीज चर्चा दल्ले जो मुखबरी करते कराए जाके पर्चा जैसे बोहिमिया वेरी मेरे बर्बाद फोन मेरा टैप पूरा सुन रही है सरकार नहीं हूँ वो रैपर जो गानों में बातें जो दे मैं वो रैपर जो थानों में दरकार यू से प्लग व्हाट यू सेड प्लग व्हाट करे तेरा प्लग शॉट करे तेरा प्लग शॉट कटर कराची लड़के मकामी शटर बंद शाबाश शोर मचाने करे तेरा प्लग शॉट करे तेरा प्लग शॉट मकामी लड़के हरामी मोटी असामी यू नो व्हाट आई मीन कटर कराची थोड़े जज्बाती
बज गई छटा ले लौंडा कुत्ती इसकी रैंक तीनों में बुस्सी वर्ती
यहाँ देख तेरी बंदी चुकी हमारे पे कर सके तू कुछ नहीं तू आड़े में तेरी फोड़ू तुड़ी तू साड़े में चले ना बने तू फन्ने खाए
तेरे भाई पे 36 काम है
दे दी किस्तों पे सलाम है 14 को खुदा अकेले में 2 बार देख हम साथ खून माफ है बड़े घंटा 49 है कैसा साफ सुन ब्लू लाइन बसों में चलते थे स्टाफ आज बिजनेस क्लास जहाज है
हाँ मेरे बाप का राज इन्हें पता मेरे सर का ताज मैं तो चले मेरी चप जबान ये मान समान ये भूल जा बोले रैपर हमारी छाट समान है कोई कैसे लेगा कुछ चुका और क्या बिगाड़ो काम तमाम जो काम नाराज है नाम से जानते नौजवान है पहले बयान भी किए तोड़ तोड़ तब तक तीनों नए आते इन्हें भेजा मैंने दीन दयाल पे ओए बत्ती टेम मार के जैसी मुझे लौंडे जल से छुप गए थोड़े बहुत व्यूज मिले बंदे उड़ गए आस्ता लवीस्ता बीटी मार से पीटा बहुत अभी बंदे पे पीटने पड़ गए क्या माँ कसम मेरे सर पे चढ़ गए तो बेइज्जत करूंगा मैं कल को भर के
बावे चलो उठा बस्ते फूल भरू कागज में बावे तेरी जान बख्शे मुझे याद कर फादर्स डे वापस ले बावे तेरी जगह नहीं तू ना प्रस्ते बाप पर
होती रहती
हथेली में खुशी जीते खूंखा टूका पीकी चीनी में जीरे हेलेडो कभी
जो है सब मुंह पे मगलोका छिपी रोके वेस्टिंग करो नौशा चेकिंग करो तोहफा फ्लिपिंग करो पुश नाउ बटन नाना करते मायने मारे अब तक छोड़ नहीं याद अब स्टेज से कितने कोने किसने कितने टक्कर इस इंडस्ट्री से करो इसका भाड़ में जब से तब बिगिनर पता था तभी की हुई मैं समय न शोता तो पूछा कि ये फालतू बोलो ना बोले कि मेकअप लगा ले बस एक वर्षों के बाद बोले कि है तू तो लगी पर जानती नहीं पीछे की स्टोरी और हकीकत देखे जो फेम और एक लिटिल ये नगीना मनी के पीछे है बहुत पसीना कभी को कुछ ना बताता है
तेरा भाई सारा वजन खुद से उठाता है छोटे मोटे जाने मेरे रैपर को पापा है
सारे छुपे जाके जब भी मुझसे तेरे टाटा सुबह देखा पेपर में लिखे तूने नाम आए सर पे सब बजे जब बजे बिग स्टैंड
बिग फैन सर सिलेमन बता के तो सुबह से वहां बंदी के
उसको है दिक्कत नहीं कमरे के धुएं से मैं उसका पानी हूँ दिल्ली के कुएं में ड्रिप है जो पानी में जैकेट है एबीसू अटैच नहीं होता मैं सिर पे अटैच तू मैं तो नहीं उससे बना रहा मैं बैम्बिनो उसको मैं बोला आप जैसी हो वैसी हो वो बोली
मेरे को वैसी के वैसी सर छोटे से बात कहती हूँ
बदल गया खुदा या बोल रहा है कि बंदोबस्त कर दूं ना सबा को आपकी मैं कर दूंगा मैं बोला बेबी तू कर रही है बंदोबस्त मेरे दिमाग
तो जाने का खट्टू तक
झंडा निकाला मैं आ गया झंडों का रकल में दो दिन ही अकल से मंदों कर समझा क्या
तू
मैं इंडस्ट्री से किलस गया हूँ थोड़े जैसे
बंदेरी बैठे हुए
सुबह 6:30 से बोतल का टकरा हूँ फोन स्विच ऑफ में एंटी सोशल एंटी सोबर एंटी लोग जो बोलते हैं कर ले तू डिस्ने मिलेगा तुझे रैप में एंटी होकर फुद्दू बातें फुद्दू रैप फुद्दू सोच फुद्दू पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू फुद्दू स्टेटमेंट फुद्दू लोग का फुद्दू मुद्दा फुद्दू फैंस को बोल के कट पा रहे हैं फुद्दू खुद का ऐसी तैसी सीन के वर्स में उठा दूं मैक्सी फ्लो है easy I'm relaxing be the answer see the baddest कुछ यहाँ से बस तो नहीं can have it
बाइंग पॉइंट मिस कर दिया, शिट।
मैं था दुखी, थोड़ा दुखी था, सोता भी नहीं है, चोटें भी नहीं, अब साथ है कोई नहीं, मैं 4 दिन भूखी, मैं 5वें दिनों का बहुत ही दुखी था, थोड़ा दुखी ले सूखा है आंसू तो रोता भी नहीं है, छोड़ा ये कि मैं खो गया कहीं, भटका कहीं, मैं थोड़ा दुखी था, थोड़ा दुखी था, थोड़ा बिजी था, पैसे कमाने में काट सर बोला Akatsuki, 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 ढूंढे खूनी टुकड़े तभी खूनी देखी दुनिया पड़े लोग हैं सर्वोत्तम ये लौंडे तभी Akatsuki, नामटी पुरुष हवन देखाई में खुश, तो जाइए पेंट दिखाई में गुम बनाए भाई का दुष्ट, और मार जो दाए ऊपर जो छाए में लाया बीच में बीच, वो यहाँ भी कांड पर हम दबा के रखते अपना शेर, बनाना भी कला है, हाथों में जादू है, बंदी को पता है, जंगल में लेना नहीं सफारी, बड़ा सा हनुमान छोटे को खड़ा है, बड़े हुए लेकिन रहे कई मैन चाइल्ड, I'm bully in the park और let them slide, कि चले जब भी चले मेरी टैक्टिक क्रैक, तेरा रैप शिट नाइट पर टांग खिंचाई तेरा भाई,
सीधे मौत बैक इन दिस पेज के जितने भी रैपर है सारे पपेट और मैं सासुरी, वो बोले कीमत की बातों की तो हमने कीमत बना दी,
लाखों में
कितनों की माचो दी परवानी, ऑप्स की मैं खाती में सुरंग दुबारू दी, सालों की मेहनत है, सालों की समंदर आगे कहानी सुना रहे हैं नारो, वो बॉडी बना रहे हैं लौंडे पर दिल इतने छोटे हैं आगे मैं इनके हूँ काकू, ताजी हूँ बोला मैं कुछ बना के इस तक की जगह यहाँ पे लौंडों की माचो दो लोग चला रहे हम गेम बाकी अंदर ही डरे हैं, नेम्स ऑफ प्रिविलेज लौंडों को दिखे ना पेन ये पाका, you know what my name is, थोड़ा दुखी था, थोड़ा बिजी था, पैसे कमाने में काट के साथ बोला Akatsuki, 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 जैसे निकले लौंडे खूनी, थोड़े दुखी बहुत है, खूबी देखी दुनिया पड़े लोग हैं सर्वोत्तम ये लौंडे तभी, सीन में कुछ बस रैपर है, गिनूं में हाथों पे गिनती के कुल 10, बाकी जो बची है फुल टस, इनकी माँ की जो दिल को दे खुल 10, हाँ ये नाजुक है बच्चे मैं इनको पढ़ा दूं, लगा दूंगा स्कूल बस, मैं पागल हूँ भूल मत, बेहद ही गंदी औलाद में घूर मत, आएगा सुखी अब आंखें सुखी है, फूकी हम खासे खाते कुछ न चल गए गांडे चाटे, फूकी है बंदे झाड़ू जानते कुछ नहीं, टुडे में बुलशिट डाल के होड़िए करते बातें, इशू बतानी है खुद ये बातें जुदी है, बहुत बकचोदी है, चेते बहुत है बहुत हम बिजी है, बचा दो ना गाड़े बता दो कि आए ना गाड़े में पट गया पेन, धरती है रस्ते छुआ मैं सब पे दौड़ा दूंगा, सबको सिखा दूंगा गेम, ये गंजले हंसते जो हम पे वो मेरा पकड़ ले, उठा ले चटाई और तेल, एक चाटे में छाइयाँ फेल, ये कापेंगे सारी रजाइयाँ फेल, पीछे बुराई और मुंह पे तारीफें हैं मीठे ये बाल मिठाई भी फेल, शक्ल दिखाते नहीं हो कि anonymous still in the hate और लाइन है सेल, मेरे मजा आएंगे लाइफ
ब्रेकआउट तो कुछ बैक इन ब्रांड न्यू फील ब्रांड न्यू तू मेरा तो सब गेम तो ब्रांड न्यू रिस्पेक्ट कर कुछ बैक इन ब्रांड न्यू ऑल ब्रांड न्यू
फिर किला है रेत का ये किला सफेद मैं अकेला लपेटा वो किला है पीला वो पीछे से पीला और आगे से गीला मैं बिल्ले से बिल्ला हम गाने से हिला तू रह गया हिला था दिल निशान में बचपन से इला
बड़े बैग एक महंगे बैग दो गुच्ची बैग तीन
Brand new.
चढ़े गोल्ड एक से चढ़े मैंने चार you know I feel
Brand new.
बड़ी जाए जेब में जूते दिए फेक पुराने हुए गंदे तो लिए ब्रांड न्यू है पता मुझे कब से था फैन मैं तू मेरा जब से था गेम भी तू नया ब्रांड न्यू
Full refreshed.
बाकी कसम तेरी कान में नहीं था इन सारे खिलाड़ियों के नाक में दम बड़ी बातें चलती जैसे साथ में हम 14 की जैसे मेरे हाथ में गन अब लाख में धन हजारों में नहीं
अब लाख में धन।
टॉप टू द हैंड मेरे हाथ में धन मुझे पता हूँ मैं बुन फाट
Shut me up.
30 लाख स्ट्रीम 4 महीनों में एल्बम में पहली प्रमोशन पे पैसा नहीं टैलेंट है बेबी पेटी पे पेटी डिजाइनर में बेबी और म्यूजिक भी बेबी आई डू दिस शिट डेली तू है वेला तेरी बंदी भी वेली तेरे बिना है वो बेहतर अकेली ये सिंडरूलो में खाता जलेबी ठीक है बात कलम में नेकी बातें नहीं फेंकी रोजा दे डीएम बैलून इज क्रेजी मॉर्निंग करते बातें काफी
Baby.
मुझे पता मुझ जैसा
एक ही।
जो भी सो रहे थे हम पे वेकी वेकी अब हो गए तेरी टोन चेंज छेती छेती मेरा म्यूजिक करता हिट अलग अलग मेरी जिंदगी लौंडा हूं मैं फिट पर आई डोंट मीन मेरे की रवल इज शिट एवरी टाइम मेरे किल बीट ऑफ विद द हेड बिच फ्लो मेरा गिलेटिन तक गिले ते गिले रातों के जो भी एनिमी जंगली कुत्ते यहां पे सारे अलग अपनी पेडिग्री नाम बढ़ता जैसे दाम पेट्रोल के सारे फ्लेवर देते नाप के तोल के रियल लाइफ नॉट ए किल मां की कसम तेरी कान में नहीं दम इन सारे खिलाड़ियों के नाक में मैं दम लौटे बातें चलते ऐसे साथ में हम 14 की जैसे मेरे हाथ में गन अब लाख में धन हजारों में नहीं अब लाख में धन टॉप टू द हैंड मेरे हाथ में धन मुझे पता हूँ मैं बुन फाट चाट मेरी कम
अब चाट मेरी कम तेरी बंदी बोले छोड़े तेरी चाट में नहीं दम रैप करना छोड़ दे खाए पे नहीं बन रावण मैंने किया गाना रात में खत्म ये तो असली है भाई क्या कर रहे हो बंटाई कहाँ से लाए हो अरे कहाँ के पास से गया ना बोले क्या असली कंफर्म आज इस रैपर की बुद्धि गरम लगता है कम पड़ेंगे कफन हम निकले कम करने नकली नाम केली का नाम तो लेंगे ना हम मशीन गन कैली बना डाला पंग चारू के साथ ना रखा संबंध स्लिम शेडी अपन की पहली पसंद मैं तेरा प्यो प्यो नहीं दूंगा पॉकेट मनी जाके रो मैंने तुझे पैदा किया तू बना मोजो फैमिली की मैगजीन में नहीं तेरी फोटो
NCR.
देखो मैं ओशो ECR लेके मुझे खोजो NCR में कोई तो रोको सुपर मनूवर फ्रॉम द टॉप रोप
माँ की कसम तेरी कान में नहीं दम इन सारे खिलाड़ियों के नाक में मैं दम लौटे बातें चलते ऐसे साथ में हम 14 की जैसे मेरे हाथ में गन अब लाख में धन हजारों में नहीं अब लाख में धन टॉप टू द हैंड मेरे हाथ में धन मुझे पता हूँ मैं बुन फाट चाट मेरी कम
चलो यार. Enjoyed, well enjoyed. Back to
So a lot of these candlesticks are going to be closing at the same time. Next, on the 30-minute, this candlestick has 12 minutes left before this one closes. Every single one of these candlesticks is a 30 minutes candle. Then we have the 15-minute time frame, which this candle closes in the next 12 minutes as well. All we have just done here from the 4-hour, or if we go up to the daily, or we go up to the weekly, is we are just looking at the fight from different points in the arena. So let's say you're actually in the fight, right? So we understand that there's different ways for you to watch the fight. You have watching the fight in person, which would be the candlestick chart. You have the line chart, which is like watching it on TV. And then you have the bar chart, which is like listening to it on the radio or having some headphones on, right? These are all the different formats for you to actually watch the fight. Now, we decided that we're going to watch the fight in person because it's obviously the best one. You're there in real time, you get real updates, and you're there live. There's nothing like being at a live fight. Now, where are you sitting in that live fight? Are you right there front row? Are you in the middle? Are you a bit higher on the stands? Or are you in the nosebleeds? Which one are you? That's exactly what these time frames are right here. The higher the time frame, the higher you're going to be in the arena. The lower the time frame, the closer you are going to be to the ring. And you can get all the way as low to 1 second. Meaning you can go to the 1 second time frame and you can literally see every single candlestick that closes every second. I don't have that feature unlocked here on TradingView simply because I don't use that feature. The lowest time frame I go is the 15. But with the feature that I have, you can go all the way up to the 1 minute, meaning every single minute a candlestick closes and you're going to be seeing every single one of those details. Believe me, you're never going to want to be this low into the time frames. It's just way too detailed. You can never actually see anything. And this right here is just a quick representation to give you a visual of what I'm talking about. So we've decided that we're going to go watch the fight in person. Now there's many different places we could be sitting. We could be at the skyscrapers, which is going to be like the weekly time frame. We could be here in this middle area, which this is going to be the daily time frame. Then we can have this outer area, which this could be the 4 hour. This area could be the 2 hour. This area could be the 1 hour. And then this area up over here can be the 30 minutes, and this can be the 15 minutes. Speaking from personal experience, the best area to actually be sitting on these fights is going to be the weekly time frame. Now you may be asking, Alex, why? That's super far. Well, because from up here, you can actually see the fight. You're actually looking from the top down. The closer you actually get to the arena, you're looking at it more of a horizontal way. I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't blessed to be the tallest guy in the room, right? I'm not super short. I'm 5'9", 5'10". At these fights, everybody happens to be giants, and everybody likes to stand in this area here. So if everybody's standing and they're taller than me, I can't see the fight. And the fight is on a platform, and since the fight's on a platform, guess what? Not only can I not see because there's somebody big on top of, like, right in front of me, but then the fight is also elevated, so you're almost looking up, and if the people were to fall, for example, on this side, I can't see them at all. Like, you're just not seeing them. You have to be looking up directly to the screen to see what's happening. So the point that I want to get to this is, don't think the more detailed you can see stuff, and because something closes every single minute or every single second, that it's better because you get to see more details. That's actually completely false. You want to make sure that you can be watching and from above, and you can see everything from a higher standpoint, and you can see stuff coming because you're watching everything as it unfolds. So this is how going through the candlestick formats is, right? So we're looking at the exact same price, right? So if you notice right here, this is Euro USD on the daily time frame. It's 1.1314. If we go down to the 4 hour, it's the same 1.1314. Obviously the market's moving right now, so it's going to fluctuate one of these 2 points. But if I go down to the 2 hour, 1 hour, and the 30 minute quickly, you can see that it's all the exact same price feed. You're just looking at it in a much more detailed format. It's just being represented in a more detail. So this 4 hour candlestick right here that we are looking at, it's being broken down into 2 candlesticks when we go to the 2 hour time frame. So now it's going to be these 2 candlesticks right here. Now these 2 candlesticks are going to be broken down into another candlesticks once we go down to the 1 hour. Now these candlesticks right here, this 1 hour candlestick is going to be broken down to then another 30 minute candlestick once we go down to the 30 minute, so on and so forth. So what I'm trying to get you to understand here is that when you're looking at the candlesticks, because you go from this time frame to this time frame, doesn't mean you're looking at a completely different market, you're looking at a completely different format. No, you're looking at the exact same fight, you're looking at the exact same market, just in a much more detailed way. And sometimes having those details is good, sometimes having those details is bad. All that unfolds and it kind of comes together. together when you're actually executing a strategy and doing proper top-down analysis and executing on the market. And I'm going to teach you guys how to do all that later into this video. Right now, I've just taught you what type of markets, how to break it down, and then the importance of understanding why these time frames are a thing. All right, so that's only the beginning of these time frames. Now, a lot of you guys may be asking, Alex, okay, cool, I get it, but how does the candlestick actually work? Like, what is this line up here? What is this line down here? Very simple. Picture, we can go down to the 1 minute time frame to see this as real as it gets. Picture this market right here as this candlestick right now is about to close in the next 2 seconds. It's going to close right there, and now another one is going to open from where this one closed. As soon as this next candlestick opens from this one that closed, it's either going to go up or down, right? It's really not going to do anything else. Now this market, as soon as it opened, it went up. Now if this market in the next 42 seconds it decides to not move at all, it will close like that, and then another candlestick will open right next to it, and it will either continue to go up or go down. But let's say right now that this market decides to have a push to the downside. There's going to be what is called a wick, which is that exactly right there. Once it actually had a little bit of a retracement, which will look like this. It's going to be a wick. That wick is basically representing where price has been. So for example, right there, you can tell price has been to that high point. So if I were just to get a line right here, that is the highest point the body of that move has been. And if this market decides to now have a reversal down and close to the downside, it will close with that wick. So in the next 2 seconds, we're about to find out if it's going to close with that wick or not. And I believe it has closed with the wick. Right now, since we're headed towards the closure of market tends to move, pretty slow. There's just simply not a lot of volatility. But this next candlestick should be opening right now. And as soon as it opens, it's either going to continue going up or come down. And this candlestick will officially have been closed with that wick. And you can see that this next candlestick just opened super quick, had to push to the downside, and now at one point it was down here. I just literally didn't manage to grab it because I was going back and forth in the time frames, but came down here and it went back up. Now this next candlestick, this one has closed here, this one opened, wicked up, now it's wicking back down, wicking back up. So what this line is, what this tail is, what this hair, wick, whatever the proper name is a wick. This right here is a wick, but many people have a lot of creative names for it. All this right here is just the history of where price has been. So right now, this candlestick is currently creating that wick right now. It's currently creating that high. Created up to that point, and if it closes right here, that is where the trail of the candlestick has been. This is the market showing us how the market is moving. Is it moving very aggressively to the upside? Is it rejecting this area? Because this wick right here is shown as a sign of a rejection. Clearly price was bullish, or this candlestick was completely filled all the way up to this point, but something happened in the market that it pushed it down. In turn, that should then mean that it should continue to be pushed down. For example, that closed with a small wick at this area, so that means that the sellers aren't as strong, but now we have very strong sellers coming into this area now, for example. So let's say this market closes with the wick all the way down here now, and you can see how this market can, wow, this is moving very aggressively, but this is showing you guys how the markets can move, how fast it can move, even though we are in the last couple of hours of the markets. This right here, if it somehow reverses and it has a push to the upside, then this would have a very big wick, right? It could look something like this. But see, this right here is continuously pushing down this market, and if wherever it closes, this wick is doing the trail of where that market has been. Now that wick is equally as respected when it comes to the 1 minute time frame, 15-minute time frame, 1 hour time frame, daily, 4 hour. These are all different types of wicks that are being created. So as you can tell in the 1 minute time frame, that might have looked like a massive bearish candlestick, but you look at it right here in the 4 hour, and this 4 hour looks pretty much exactly the same from when we started talking about this subject a couple of minutes ago. So that's why the lower time frames, it might seem like a very big wow move, but in reality it doesn't affect any of the higher time frames. Are the lower time frame used in order to determine a trade, and do they go in sync with the higher time frames? Absolutely. But there's a way, there's a time and a place to actually execute that correctly. But if you can tell, that 1 minute big bearish candlestick looks like it might have had this fall off a cliff. But then when you go look at it back to the 4 hour time frame, this literally looks exactly the same from when we actually started trading. But I just want you guys to understand what these wicks are. That means that the market at one point, it was a completely bullish candlestick into this area, and then something drove price all the way down, and then it ended up closing here. Once it closed here, this candlestick opened, had its move up and down, created that history. This is where this market closed, and this one opened up, had its history, it closed, and then this is where this one opened up, had this push up, and as of right now, it's right here. In the next 24 minutes, this candlestick will close, and then another one will open and either have its push up or down, or however it ends up closing. But once one candlestick closes, another one opens right next to it, and this will be the never-ending battle of the market. And our job as traders is to determine what that next move is going to be, and us capitalize off of that move. Because these market opportunities and this battle is a never-ending battle. All right, so now moving on to the next subject. Now that you understand that the candlestick chart is like watching a fight, that is the way that it's being represented, and the closer you are to the arena, which is the lower the time frame you are, means the more precise you're watching the fight. The higher the time frame you are, the higher you are actually watching the time frame, but you're watching the exact same trade, you're watching the exact same market, you're watching the exact same fight. It's just being represented in a much more detailed format. Your USD, you could be watching on a daily, 1 hour, 30 minute, you're just looking at it in a much more detailed format. And now you know what those wicks are and how the candlestick leaves those trails, so on and so forth, right? But I want to explain to you now the actual trading sessions when it comes to the strength of the time to actually be watching that fight. When is the right time to actually be there and be involved? Because if not, because to be honest, you can't really be involved 24/7, even if you wanted to, because you're going to be there at times where there will simply be absolutely no volume, where you're just going to waste your time and the people are going to be tired, right? So the best way I could put the analogy, and I love my analogies sometimes, but I feel like they're just too precise that I forget to go back to trading. If people are fighting, there's going to get a point where they're going to get tired, right? And if they're tired and, they're drinking water, they're stretching, they're eating food, that's pretty boring, right? You want to see blood, you want to see somebody get knocked out, you want to see somebody lose a tooth. That only happens at specific times. That's after they rested, that's after they're well eaten and they're actually ready to fight. And that only happens at specific times, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about in the market. Yes, you want the market to have these big, massive moves to the upside, these big swings, and you want to catch these big trades, but that doesn't happen all the time. Like, the market gets tired, the market has movements at only specific times. So these are the highest volume sessions, and then these are the slowest volume sessions. So we're going to start off with the Sydney session. So we have Sydney session and Tokyo session. So this tends to happen around 5 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 EST. So this is basically the afternoon. This is when people finish their 9 to 5. This is all of the afternoon. And as you can tell, the lighter the color, the less the volume session. The darker the color, the more session there is. This right here is exactly when the fighters are taking a break. They're stretching, they're eating, they're cleaning up their sweat, they're closing up their wounds, they're taking a break. So if you are in front of the arena at this time, you are simply watching nothing. Yeah, they're gonna be there, cleaning up one another, they might be talking smack back and forth, but they're not fighting. You're not gonna see blood, right? Because there's no volume. You can be in front of the markets at this time. Yes, it's going to be moving, it's going to be creating little moves up and down like this, exactly how I just showed you, but you're not going to have those big swings. Why? Because there is no volume. There's no volume in Sydney session or Tokyo session. There's absolutely no volatility there. Is there a one-off moment where there could be a quick pump that happens there? Yes, that can be 1 in every 20 trading days. But are you going to be in front of the arena knowing that 1 out of 20 trading days, one guy might just get up and sucker punch the other guy? Probably not, right? You don't want to bet your money on that. The odds of that happening are unlikely. Just whenever it happens, you'll watch the video and it pops up, and then usually they'll go back to fighting in just a couple of hours. Is there going to be a time where you're not looking at the markets in these sessions and it has it moves? Yeah, sure, but that wasn't your time to be watching the market anyways. So Sydney and Tokyo session are going to be the sessions that you are not going to be trading. You're not going to be interested at executing any trades. I use these time frames right here to go do stuff with my life. I go and work out. I go and try and have a life that's not just staring at the charts. Beginning of pre-London session, and then we have all of London session. This is when the battle begins. This is where things start getting very, 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 very rough. Now, I would argue that this chart is a bit inaccurate. I'd say this could be a little bit darker, maybe a little bit more this way. But this right here begins from 1 in the morning. So at 1 in the morning, I start doing my pre-London analysis session because London session opens right at 3 in the morning. And pre-London, which is 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., there already starts to be some volatility and the market starts to move very well. And you obviously have out of London session, which lasts from 3 in the morning all the way up to around 12 p.m. EST. Now, there's something beautiful that happens inside of the currency market at this point right here. And that is that the New York session happens to open up in the same time that the London session is ongoing. So London session opens up at 8 in the morning and it overlaps the London session, creating this extremely volatile point in the market. So I like to enter my trades either pre-London session or during London session. So then the trade has good volatility, it starts going in my direction. And then once New York session kicks in, it just adds more fuel to the fire, which ignites it even more and gives it more of a movement. And then typically right around the ending of London session, halfway through New York session, the market starts to slow down again and then things start to just not get any volatility. The market takes a break for a couple of hours and then the pattern repeats itself. This will repeat itself from Monday to Friday every single day. Now, the key point here that you need to understand is that there is realistically only a window that you need to be involved into the market. You can only get involved in the market from 1 in the morning all the way up to around 10:30 in the morning. And some of you guys may be asking, but wait, Alex, there's still some volatility over here where the New York session and the London session overlap. It's like, yes, correct. Yes, there's still going to be some fights going down here. It's still going to be aggressive, but it's headed towards the end of that. And you don't want to enter a trade while it's being extremely volatile. And then what ends up happening is that it slows down for the next 10 hours. Because let's say you enter a trade at around noon, right? You're not going to be having any volatility for the next nearly 10 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 10, 11, 12, 11 hours. You're going to have absolutely no volatility in your trade. Does it make sense to enter a trade that is not going to have any movement for the next 11 hours? Not really. And you're going to pay an unnecessary fee once the market closes and then opens up again, because every single day at 5 p.m. EST, the market closes, it opens up literally for 1 minute. And then what ends up happening is you have to pay a swap, you have to pay commission fees for holding trades overnight. And it just not only does it cost more money to do that, but then you just have trades that are going to be in the same point for the next 11 hours. There's nothing more than I hate than looking at my money do nothing. Right? I either want my trade to hit my stop loss or hit my take profit right away. I don't want to be in the same exact point of the market just being stale for the next 11 hours. So you want to enter the trade either right before the session starts to kick in, either right in the middle of London session, right before the real batter starts to kick in, inside of that battle, or right before it starts to drop off. You can enter a trade anywhere 9, 10 in the morning, and then you can catch the ending of the overlap of London and New York session. Anything after 10 in the morning, I have not taken a trade after that time. I can't even remember. I think it's been 4 years since I have taken a trade past 10:30 in the morning. Now, once again, is there going to be an example? Is there going to be a 1 out of 20, 1 out of 30 probability that the trade that you would have taken at, let's say, 12 o'clock, it actually ends up hitting your take profit by 8 p.m.? Sure, of course, there's always going to be these one-off opportunities. But that is not how you build a sustainable, profitable strategy that is a strategy that you follow time and time and time and time and time again. This is something that is a proven system that it simply just works. You get involved before the session kicks in, either right in the middle of it, in the middle of the peak over the overlap, or right before the ending session of that. This is what's led me to have my biggest trade. I think my biggest trade is like $500,000. This is what led me to be able to have that trade. This also led me to be able to avoid many losses, because if you are only focused in trading about, let's say, 6 to 7 hours out of the whole entire trading day, you're really only focused on a very specific time right here. And I know this tends to be an issue because a lot of people tend to be at jobs anywhere from, or either at jobs or sleeping from 1 in the morning to about 10 in the morning. Like, this is a crucial time right here. But I will tell you this, the sacrifice is definitely worth it to be involved in between these time frames right here. From 1 in the morning to 10 in the morning, EST is the most accurate times for you to be trading. Anything outside of this time frames right here, I can guarantee you will not have anywhere near as much volatility. It just simply does not happen. The two big banks are going to be closed and you're just not going to have enough volume. And this goes especially to the markets that have the US in it. Any markets that have the dollar, for example, let's say you're trading Euro USD. If the dollar is asleep and the banks are closed, how do you expect for that to have any movement in this session over here? So this goes specifically to those markets like GBP USD, Euro USD, anything that involves the USD. If the USD market is asleep or it is not open, it's not going to have any volatility. Can you still trade USD markets in the London session? Because technically the London session hasn't opened. Yes, actually it's even better. Because let's say you trade Euro USD or GBP USD. You're trading the pound right when the market opens over there, and then when New York session opens, you get double the volatility with the same exact currency pair. That right there is the golden ticket to having the perfect moves. Now you obviously need to align that up with a strategy. You need to know what you're looking at in the charts. Just because it's 1 in the morning, you can't just click buy or click sell and expect to make money. Can you get lucky? Sure, but that's not, once again, how you have a sustainable income while you're trading. So to sum things up, yes, the markets are open 24/5, and technically you could go and execute a trade at any one of those hours. You can literally go and hit the buy or sell button at any time you want. But there is going to be a high chance that if you are not in the correct session, that you, one, are going to pay unnecessary fees, and two, you're going to be stuck in a volume that is going to simply have no movement. I want to make sure that I can enter a trade when there's going to be a lot of movement, and the odds of my trade winning are going to be a lot higher. So this right here is the currency market trading session, and this works for every single currency pair out there, whether it is AUD JPY, USD JPY, Euro AUD. Everything is always going to fall inside of this trading session right here. That is going to be the session that is going to create the best movements at any given point. And the key of it is so you know how to put that together with a profitable strategy. And I'm going to be teaching you that in the next couple of hours. All right, so now moving on to the next subject. Now that you understand that you actually need to be trading in a proper session and where you need to be in that fight, you got to make sure you're there at the right times. But now you're probably asking, all right, Alex, I get it, but what do I need in order for me to actually go and execute a trade in these markets? What do I have to actually do so I place a bet on the fight? I think I got the potential are going to either point down your ASC and it's more than the years where once you trade, some of them charge fees for holding positions every single day because they are the ones that are going to go ahead and actually execute your trade into the real market. And then based off of your results, whenever you decide to close your position, whether you win or lose, the market fee for you to use that to Forex Factory. Forex Factory, as you can tell, is the last one on my list, not because it is the least important, but because it is the one that I potentially use the least. And that is because this right here is a fundamentals tab. So Forex Factory is mainly driven by fundamentals. So as you can tell here, if we were to click on the calendar section of Forex Factory, we're going to have all of these potential impact news that are going to pop up. And as you can tell, what we have is, if I were to just go back on top, this lets us know the exact date and time when news are going to come out for a specific currency. And the color of this folder is the importance of it. So something that is a red folder is far more important than something that's an orange folder. And obviously we have yellow folders and then gray folders, but I simply just don't use them because they obviously are very slightly, like they don't impact the market at all. So I always like to focus on the red folders. But this is the only other platform if it causes any possible curiosity for you to understand the fundamentals. And I'm going to break down the difference between fundamental trading and actual technical trading later on into this video. But this is the only other platform that is going to be needed. Here you can literally see what the forecast of the fundamentals are going to be, what it was previously, and then what it actually was. And as you can tell, for the majority of the part, it really really is never that much off, and these doesn't really create any big impacts into the market. These are all very minimal. Even the big red folders don't really have a big impact on the market. It happens occasionally, but it's not a way for you to actually create a profitable strategy. So these are the main trading tools, the main trading platforms that you're going to need. The last but not least will be forexfactory.com. That is just for you to understand the actual fundamentals of the trade. Aside from that, you do not need any other trading platforms. You do not need any other tools. You don't need anything else. All you need is just your trading view. You need your broker, and then you need the platform for you to actually execute the trade. And that is it. So now, taking this a step further, I'm going to actually show you guys how to create an account on a broker and how easy it is to deposit into it. So right now we're watching the fight. Euro USD is going up, and I see that Euro is going to get stronger. Let me go ahead and buy the Euro. So we're going to put the example on onextrade.com. So go to onextrade.com. I created a random demo account, just use a random email, and this is the portal inside. So some people sometimes get tempted, or some people get skeptical by this, but it's very easy process. It's a very seamless process, right? So right here, as you can tell, it's a brand new account. There's no real transactions. There really isn't anything. Dashboards are super simple because everything is straight to the point. All this is right here is like a bank. The money is going to reflect here how much you deposited, how much you've profited, and how much you've withdrawn. Very simple. And where you see the actual trades, where you see the actual P&L, all of that is going to reflect on MetaTrader. So we're going to go one step at a time. So right here we have onextrade.com. This is the dashboard. And let's say we want to go ahead and deposit some funds. For us to deposit some funds, we need to go ahead and create an account. Once we create one of these accounts, we can pick from either a standard, a commission-free, or an expert account. For this example, we'll just go with the standard. The difference usually tends to be minimal. And we're going to go with a 1 to 500 leverage, right? Very easy, very simple. This is the max leverage that they offer. I'm going to explain what leverage is later on into this video. So I want to go one thing at a time. So right here, as you can tell, we have created a account. So now we have 1 to 500 leverage, we have $0 balance, and we have 0 equity into our account. So for us to go ahead and actually deposit it, we click quick deposit. Up at this top section over here, now we have the option to deposit in crypto, or we can go ahead and deposit in credit card. So this is a much faster process, and it can be done in the next couple of seconds. I'm just going to use crypto, and we're going to go ahead and click on this account, make sure that we have crypto as our option. We don't have a promo code, but we are just going to place a basic $100 deposits into this broker. Minimum is $10, but I'll do $100. Promo codes, if you have any actual, credits, like, use promo code Alex, for example, you get an extra $100. Not saying that's a real thing, but sometimes they offer promos for that stuff. So let's say we click deposit into the trading account. I can deposit in Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Tether, or USDC coin. We're going to use USDT ERC20 for this example, and this is the actual wallet address. So I'm going to head over to my phone and just send a quick $100 just to show you guys how simple this is. So right now I'm sending the funds from my cold wallet into this platform. So just waiting for this to load. We'll go ahead and then click buy, but obviously using another different website, but this is where you're going to be able to actually identify. Here you're probably going to get some bars down over here, which are going to be like some big blue, some big green and red bars. Gym, I have some groceries to do, I have to step out of the house, I have to step out of the office. I don't have to be glued and stuck in front of the computer. This alarm here will let me know once and if price ever does that. If I want to move it up, all I have to really do is just drag it up, and then the alarm gets dragged up. I want to move it down, just grab it and drag it up and down. I can pretty much also squeeze price in here, and another way to how you can add an alarm is over here to the right hand section. You can just click this plus sign, and then you can click add alert. So that's when price gets to this area right here. If I were to click on this as well, I can add an alert when price gets to the EMA, for example. If I want to delete it, I just right click on the alarm. If I once again click this right here, I will be notified once it hits this area. It's pretty much never ending different types of ways on how you can set up the alert. The only way I ever use it is I click this button right here, I add the alert at that point, and once the market gets to the point that I need it to get to, I do whatever I've been interested in entering in the market. If I want to delete it, hover over it, click right here and click delete. It's very clean, very seamless, and very simple. I get very creative with my alarms. What I tend to do is I trap price. So I'll put an alarm up here, I'll put an alarm very tight into this area right here, and I'll know when price breaks below or breaks above. And sometimes I get even more creative and I right click on the alarm or
Teaching a
double click on it,
single
and I'll
thing.
place a message. Or I'll be like, your USD is crossing this area, enter now, bro. Or you got stopped out.
But I
So
already
whenever
know
the
these
alarm
things,
hits,
like
all you really have to do is look at
already
your
I
phone
repeated
and
these
you're
things
going to
while
know what
learning
the
in
alarm is going to be
2C
about,
diet,
right?
like
So this is
how
a
did I
little
say?
bit of a message that you can leave yourself whenever you place the alarms at whatever the area is going to be. That's pretty much all it comes when it comes to the alarm sections. These are all the notifications and how you can set it up. You can get an email, web link, sound, just however you want to
So
set
I
up
just
your
want to
alarms.
skip
The
this
way this is,
thing. I already.
I am
How many
currently
times
trading.
I got to know?
Many alarms I've had, but I've had that I did skip a button, which is going to be the bar replay. So the bar replay is actually
Bar replay
to
I also
figure
know
out,
because
first of all, what is a pitchfork? Like, what is an inside pitchfork? What the fuck? Like, looking at place this where it should be your minimum risk to reward tool, why it should be, and the whole entire philosophy behind that. So that's what the risk to reward tool are. That I did skip a button, which is going to be the bar replay. So the bar replay is actually something that you use to back test. So I just clicked on that button, and let's say I want to back test. I can just start back testing, let's say from this point right here. I right click it, and then all I would have to do is just start. I click the play button, and then it's like if I were to be back testing, I can pause it. I can speed up the time of the candlesticks. I can change from a certain time frame to another. This is basically the back testing tool that TradingView has to offer. It's a very cool feature. And personally, I don't recommend back testing. I actually hate back testing. I think it's one of the biggest mistakes that traders do when it comes to back testing, because it creates a false expectation of what trading is really going to be like. I have my personal opinions on it. And you know, once my students join the community, I explain to them that live testing is the best thing that you can possibly do, because when you go back test, you pretty much just saw what ended up happening here, right? Whether you try and forget or whether you get a friend to come pick the market and select the bar replay button, this still is not the same, because right now we're on the four.
Bro, wait. %80 of that, not I. If I just exclude this guy on YouTube, I'm almost 99% traders said ki you have to test, do back testing all the time, do everything on the charts, and this and Alex just said back. What do I say, bro? I'm in sleep. Back testing is the easy shit ever. कंट्रोवर्सी रहेगा रे भाई, क्यों? तो मेरे को दोबारा जानना भाई, इसने क्यों?
And select the bar replay button. This still is not the same, because right now we're on the four-hour time frame, and this market just had all of this move right here, and that just happened in literally 2 seconds. And in real life, this took nearly 36 hours to happen. So there's a big patience factor that back testing does not take into account, and I feel like it gives a false perception.
Yes, if we can say, while experiencing and while testing, there is a big difference. You are experiencing 36 hours of this single move, but in other hand you just get the results in 2 seconds. Yeah,
Of
now
what
it's understandable.
Trading really is like. That's why I'm personally very against back testing, and I'll give you guys, you know, more details on my thoughts on that later as we go through the actual strategy part and how you should actually be trading and what you should be looking for and what you shouldn't be not. But yeah, I just realized that I overwent that bar replay button. But continuing down here, yeah, I've never really used this area down here. I think about a year ago I accidentally moved this up, and then I realized something down here even existed. I don't know what this open panel or maximized panel even is. Moving down over here to the left hand side, you're going to have this little star. So this little star is actually this toolkit right here. So this toolkit, if I were to click the star, it pops up. If I don't click it, it won't pop up. Once I have my toolkit pop up, these are all of the tools that I actually use to analyze the market. that I use to determine whether this is a good trade to buy or whether this is a good trade to sell. Now, these are all of the tools that I personally use. These are all of the tools that TradingView has to offer. If you were to right click on the trend line and tools, you're going to get many different formats of trend lines and many different ways that you can identify the market. You can get this type of tool, you can get this different type of trend line here. For example, you can get a trend diagonal. I have never used this in my life and I have no idea what they are used for. I only use inside of this line section, I use the trend line, the horizontal line, and the horizontal ray. For you to get access to it, all you have to do is just put the star. Click the star, and you're going to notice that it's going to automatically pop up on your own custom toolkit bar. All of these other different types of trend lines, I don't know what this is. Like, the fuck is this? This is a pitchfork? Like, how? Like, it's literally named pitchfork. Then this is a shift pitchfork. Like, what the fuck is? I don't know. This, in my opinion, is just too much information. And believe me, when I was learning how to trade, I was here breaking my head, literally trying to figure out, first of all, what is a pitchfork? Like, what is an inside pitchfork? Like, what the fuck? Like, looking at this now after I've been trading for such a long time just makes me feel extremely happy that I actually was able to become a profitable trader with this amount of information overload that, you know, these different platforms have to offer. You know, they don't do it in a malicious way. They just do it because, you know, their business is to offer all of these different types of tools just so anybody and anybody can use it. But what nobody teaches you is that you don't need to know or learn every single thing inside of this platform for you to determine if a trade makes sense to buy or sell. You really don't. But all of these tools that I have here, the trend line.
I'll show you how much things I used. Check this out. Rectangle, short position, trend based line. Like, ये भी मैं इतना यूज नहीं करता, ठीक है. ट्रेंड लाइंस, ये लॉन्ग, ये कभी कभी, ये भी बिल्कुल ना करा, पर ये ज़्यादातर, ये कभी कभी. इफ मैं इसमें फ़िल्टर कर रहा हूँ, ये यूज़ करता हूँ मैं, ये दो तो अलग हो गए, चलो ठीक है, इसको एक साइड ही कर दो. ये यूज़ करता हूँ, ये यूज़ करता हूँ, एंड ये यूज़ करता हूँ. बस. मैं तो भैंस का वो भी नहीं यूज़ करता, कोई क्या बोलते हैं उसे, इंडिकेटर. रॉक ट्रेडिंग में आप देखेंगे. क्या लग रहा है वैसे जाएगा ट्रेड? मैं ओपन अभी कर नहीं रहा, इसको ओपन बाद में करेंगे. अगर यहाँ पे टच करेगा या फिर यहाँ पे ब्रेकआउट देगा वापस आएगा तब करेंगे ओपन से. ये भी गिरेगा, हाई चांसेस. यहाँ तक तो आएगा गिर के.
The horizontal ray and the horizontal line are the only lines that you're going to be needing inside of this section. Moving on to the section below, you have the Fibonacci. So once again, there is a quintillion different amounts of Fibonacci tools and different formats that you can use. I don't use any type of Fibonacci. I don't use any type of can or what. I don't even know. Like, I think this is the biggest. I don't even want to say anything, but I don't know. I'm telling you, I just look back and I really tried to figure out how to make something work with this right here. And you guys don't understand how much time I wasted by doing this. This really messed me up, guys. I mean this in the most humbling way. Like, this really made me lose a lot of time. So you won't need to be learning any of the stuff here. They can pretty much nuke this whole entire tab right here of the Fibonacci, and that will change absolutely nothing in my trading. Next, we have the pattern section. In this pattern section, you have all of these different types of patterns. The only pattern, let me see what this one looks like. What is this? The cloud? Like, how does this even make, what does this do? I don't know. Oh my God. What is this? The S line. Yo, what is this, bro? This looks like a heartbeat. This is like, bro. This was my heartbeat trying to learn this whole trading shit, trying to figure out if I should be interested in buying or selling. Like this right here is not a trending. This I don't even know what this is. Oh my god, it's just I'm so passionate about trading that sometimes this type of stuff drives me crazy because it can just completely mess up somebody's journey. The only pattern you're going to be needing, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the head and shoulders. So just put a little star on the head and shoulders pattern, and then it should pop up right there into your toolbox. Below that, you're going to have the projection. You're going to put a star on the long position and the short position. These are very self-explanatory. Whenever you're going to buy a trade, this is the long position you're going to pop up. So whenever you buy a trade, you expect for you to pre-calculate your risk. So in here, let's say you're only willing on losing $100, and then if the trade right here we have 4, and then we have 5, for example. So this risk reward tool works for buys, and then it also works for sales. So here you're risking 1 to gain 2, and I'm going to be explaining to you how to properly place this, where it should be your minimum risk to reward tool, why it should be, and the whole entire philosophy behind that. So that's what the risk to reward tool are going to be. And I feel like I didn't really mention these other tools over here, but trend line is very simple, just a trend line. We don't really use it as a trend line. We use it more to create our structure points, and I'll explain all of that later once we get into that. Our horizontal line is just so we can identify a line that goes pretty much across the chart, and a horizontal ray is pretty much the same exact thing as the horizontal line. It's just from a certain point. So instead of it being the whole entire market, we could just place it based off of this point. Makes it very simple so the market and the charts don't get too cluttered up with an abundance of information. So the head and shoulders pattern is used as a reversal pattern, and this is so you can determine where the left, the head, and the right shoulders. If you guys have been following me for some time, you're probably going to notice that I repeat this pattern time and time and time again. That's because it's simply one of the most powerful patterns in the market to date, and it's the one that has led me to have the majority of my success. But there's a very specific way on how to use it, and don't worry, I'm going to be breaking down how to use this pattern accurately later into this video. For now, I'm just showing you what trading view is and what you should be focusing on and what you should not be focusing on. This is pretty self-explanatory. You might have it full of different colors. It might be pretty ugly when you have it. All you have to do is double click it or right click the head and shoulders, go to style you want, go into the, just circle it, and I don't know, to money and trade down from over here. This is crazy. This is basically saying that it's going to predict the next move. It's pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. It's for like a tattoo or something, but not to make money in trading. Honestly, that makes no sense. Next is the brush. The brush is just used for my educational purposes whenever I want to mark up structure points, or whenever I want to mark anything off and show people, or just set a reminder of something. I'll just circle it and I'll know to come back to it whenever is needed, just to pretty much note things down. The rectangle is going to be used as a box. This is where you're going to place your zones of support and resistance, and I'll be breaking down support and resistance later, so make sure you have this box. It's going to be very crucial and essential that you have it. Once again, if you don't like your colors, double click it, right click it, and you can pretty much change the colors however you want, or you can just do it based off of this other tab right here that pops up, and then here you can go based off of the custom colors that you want to go ahead and make your box. I always like making it as light as possible so you can actually see price. Some people like having it super dark, and if you have it super dark, you literally cannot see price. The box is blocking price. I like making it around a 4 to 5%, just so it's a very light tint, so you can identify if you're in or out of the box, but you can also see it. Next is going to be the rotated rectangle, and this one I'm actually going to unclick. I actually want to go ahead and zoom into a market for ask team this. So for example, for the first time, I guess it's one other pending orders that are right here. So this is once you are ready to go ahead and execute the trade. So let's say you're looking at NZD JPY. This right here is price action. Price action is when the market goes up and down. Now, price action can be reflected either in these candlestick formats or in the line chart, as you guys already know. Now, price action is what's going to tell you if this market is bullish or bearish. So price action pretty much equals, and the line chart is with price action. The only way for you to determine if the market is either in a bearish market or in a bullish market is going to be with price action. There's no other way that you can tell if the market is bullish or bearish without price action. The fundamentals will never tell you if the market is bullish or bearish. The indicators will never tell you if the market is bullish or bearish. No crossover, no Bollinger Bands, all this stuff I'm going to teach you later into the future, but no indicator, no pattern, nothing will ever teach you if something is bullish or bearish like price action. Price action is going to be the end all be all area section where it's going to tell you if something is bullish or bearish. Everything that is out there in the market that is added on top of price action, it's exactly that. It's an add-on to price action. Indicators are an add-on to price action. Tools are an add-on to price action. Any possible EMA is an add-on to price action. Any reversal pattern is an add-on to price action. Price action is the core. And I'm repeating this because I need you guys to really understand and get this. Because once you get this, you get everything. As soon as you understand the proper market structure based off of price action, it is everything, right? So now that you understand that price action is everything and price action is needed to determine if the market is bullish or bearish, the market determines if it's bullish or bearish based off of market structure. So market structure is what's going to let you know if this market is actually indeed bullish or if it's going to be bearish. Market structure is everything. Market structure is every single elbow that you see in this market, every single triangle, every single reversal point, every single pointy section, every single point where the market had a move to the opposite direction. This is going to be considered market structure. So this is almost like the red lights. This is almost like the turns in the street lights. These are the curves. These are the entry and exit points of the highways. These are all of the stop signs. These are all of the turning lanes. This is all of the mergings. This is basically every single point that connects the road with one road to another, from one destination to another. The middle point is just the road. This is just the road to get you to this point right here. Once you are at this point right here, this is, let's call it First Street. Now this First Street, it only has a turn to the left or to the right. And this turn to the right, this is just the full road to then Second Street. And then back up and down. Now this is the road. This road is just a straight road, a straight one shot to get to this street. Once you get to this stop, then you turn to the next stop. This is just a road to then the next stop. Once you get to the next stop, then it's just a road to the next stop. So every single one of these structure points, look at it almost like a stop sign. Look at it like a turning light. Look at it like an entry point to the next entry or getting off at the next exit. These are literally just points where the road needs to stop in order for you to then be able, like let's say you want to get from this point over here to this point over here. You can't just cross over because there's buildings in the way, there's a lake in the middle, there's a lot of stuff going on in the middle. In order for you to get to this destination, you first needs to then hit First Street. After you go to then First Street, there's a stop sign, and then you need to go back up to then Second Street, and then on Second Street South, then you need to turn back into First Street North, and then on North Street first, then you actually make it to then Third Street. So from you to go from this street to this street, you need to follow the ways of the road. There's no difference in between that example and then this market structure. This market structure, in order from it to get, let's say, to this point, you need to follow the road in order for the market to get there. Now, this is going to be crucial for you to understand how the market actually works, how to determine if it's bullish or bearish. Now, I'm not saying, for example, right now that the live price needs to, in order for it to get to down here, that it needs to break this road and stuff like this. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, in order for you to understand how the market got from this point to this point, just follow the road and follow the structure points. The structure points are going to tell you how it actually made it to that point. So the structure points are these points over here. Once again, are going to be these stop signs, these turning signals, these reversal areas. These are going to be market structure points. So market structure points, we're just going to write this down, right? One thing at a time. Market structure points are the elbows in the market, the turning points in the market. These market structure points are where it's going to determine is bullish or bearish. So market structure points are the elbows in the market. These are the turning points in the market, and these market structure points are going to determine if the market is bullish or bearish. If you properly read every single one of these elbows, you're going to be able to tell if the market is bullish, right? So I'm going to do a quick quiz on you guys right now, right? And I expect for you guys to get this wrong. I don't expect for you to get this right, right? Just gonna do this right here. Is this market right here bullish or is it bearish?
Let's see. यार ये एक टर्निंग पॉइंट है एक्चुअली अगर ऊपर जाके अच्छे वापस स्विच कर दी तो बेरिश है ये ब्रेकआउट दे सकती है तक आवड़े टॉप नहीं क्रॉस करता है bearish चाहिए.
So we understand bullish equals up, bearish equals down, right? So the market is heading up when it's bullish, the market is heading down when it's bearish. Go ahead, pause this video and just take a wild guess, right? Cool. So I can almost guarantee you you're wrong. And even if you're right of the direction, whether this market is up or whether this market is down, you probably don't know exactly why, right? For example, let's say if I were to give you a very complex equation, right? Let's say I were to give you this plus this, for example, and then I give you multiple choice option. Oh, for example, let's say we didn't know that, but let's say I just give you a multiple choice option and I give you choice number A or I give you choice number B, right? You only have two options and you happen to just click on the right option and you're right. Now, that doesn't mean you're right because you know the solution or you know the way on how to solve the problem. You just happen to pick the right one because it's really is a 50-50. Like it's pretty hard to get it wrong. It really, the odds are split down the middle. So that doesn't mean that you know math. That doesn't mean that you're good at it or that you should be advancing to the next point. That's exactly what this is right here. Just because let's say you pick the right one, because you know obviously there's only two options, right? The odds of you getting it right or wrong is pretty fair. Let's say you do get it right, you're probably not getting it right for the right reason, and that is the big problem with traders. A lot of traders happen to just guess that the market is in the right trend, but they are actually executing it wrongfully because they don't know where it's bullish or bearish based off of. Now, let me explain what I mean by that, right? We're going to leave this right here and we're going to come back to it and I'm going to educate you when we're going to find out if you were right or wrong. So once again, pause the video, take a screenshot and just write it down. Bullish or bearish and then where. Why or where do you think it is? And if you don't even know where you identify this market that it's bullish from, then that even shows even more that you don't know anything just yet. But don't worry, I'm going to teach you right now. It's very easy, right? So I'm going to educate you guys right now on market structure, which is everything in the market. Right now, this market is bullish. right? This is a very clear bullish market. Now, this market is bullish because it is consisted
stop
of
तो ऊपर
higher
ये हुआ
highs and
because इसने इससे
higher
ऊपर जाके हाई
lows,
मारा है
or also known as HH or HL, right? Higher high is
higher
HH,
low
HL
ये
is a
higher
higher
high
low.
higher low
So this
higher
right
high
here
then
is
higher low
the higher high, right? This is the highest point in the market, and this is all based off of market structure. So if I double click this line, I go to text, I'm just going to put HH. So we've identified this as the higher low. Now this right here is now going to be the higher low. So this higher low point from this point right here is going to be what took this from point A to point B. Right here, you were at 2nd Street. You had to turn right, make it to 1st Street. Now, in order for you to make it to 3rd Street, from 2nd Street, you have to go through 1st Street and then you make it to 3rd Street, because obviously there was some trees here in the middle, there was a lake, there's a big building here. You can't just go from 2nd Street straight to 3rd Street. You need to go around the buildings and then you make it to 3rd Street. Cool, right? Pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. Now, this market is bullish because of this higher high and because of this higher low. As long as we remain inside of this market structure, inside of this higher low and this higher high, this market will remain bullish. This market is bullish no matter what, as long as we are inside of this higher high and this higher low. The simplest way that I can put it is this is going to be 3rd Street and this is going to be 1st Street, right? We understand that, and this middle point right here is 2nd Street, right? Very easy, very self-explanatory. As long as we are inside of 1st Street and as long as we are inside of 3rd Street, this market is inside of 1st Street and it's inside of 3rd Street, right? Pretty self-explanatory. It's almost like obvious, right? Like, duh, Alex, no shit. Like, what are you talking about? Well, you'll be surprised because some people would say that right now we are on 5th Street. It's like, well, brother, how are we on 5th Street if we haven't even broken through 1st or broken through 3rd Street? Now, this doesn't make sense. Don't worry, it's all gonna start clicking in just a second, right? And I'm gonna try and avoid the analogies too much back and forth so it doesn't confuse you guys, but we will double down on them later into the video because it's all going to connect perfectly, right? So we'll put this in the back burner for now, but all we know is as long as the market is in between this higher high and this higher low, we are bullish. This right here could create a potential retracement into this area right here, and this is just a retracement. Now, once we have body candlestick closed above this previous higher high, this has now officially broken above the higher high, meaning we need to modify our higher high. So the rules are very simple. Once we body close above the higher high or the higher low, the market has shifted. So once, I mean, with the body, don't worry, for right now we'll come back to that, but once we have closed above the higher high or the higher low, the market has shifted, and you need to modify the higher high and the higher low. So once the market has broken above this higher high, you have now shifted in the market and you need to modify this higher high and this higher low. Cool. So where does the new higher high go? Where the higher high goes to the highest high point, which is going to be right here. And where does the higher low go? Does the higher low change? Yes, the higher low changes every single time the higher low changes. So the higher low is going to go to this point right here. Now, this is another side note. always have a new higher low. So if this market, once again, it creates this retracement right here and it creates this break above, if we have a new higher high, we will always have a new higher low. So if this market has created this new higher high, it's very obvious, we will always have a new higher low. Cool. So the higher low gets moved to this point right here. Now I like to use to identify the new higher low as just the previous structure point. And I'm going to get to all that in just a second. But as long as this market continues to be inside of this higher high and this higher low, this market will remain bullish, right? So for example, once we broke out to this area, this over here went to then 4th Street, and this over here was at 2nd Street, right? Pretty self-explanatory. We broke above 4th Street, and now we are at 5th Street, right? So this is 5th Street, and this over here is going to then be 3rd Street, right? So we are using one street to get to the other street. So for now, let's remove this one because we're already pretty far away from over here, and we don't need to be aware of that. So right now, we understand that this is 5th Street, this is 3rd Street, and as long as we are in between 5th and 3rd Street, we are in between 5th and 3rd Street. This right here is just 4th Street right in the middle, or we're at 5th, or we're at 3rd, we're at 3rd and a half, we're at 4th and a half, 4th and a quarter, but at no points are we ever at 6th Street or 2nd Street. As long as, once again, as long as we are inside of this higher high and inside of this higher low, we are bullish. I'll write this down as well. As long as we are inside, we are bullish, right? Very easy, very, very self-explanatory. Now, once we have body candlestick closed above, what happens?
Camera's not working. दस से 20 हो गया है. वो बैटरी 6% है फ़ोन की. titled this as a part 1. So yeah, guys, see you tomorrow. I should go for some rest because I already know too many things from this course. Yeah, for sure I completed by tomorrow, but just I have to recheck because ये 3.5 घंटे में मैंने अगर कुछ सीखा है ना, मतलब no, this is a very good for a new beginners, but I already started an intermediate and I learned these things quite too many times. But there are some notes like traders type, here how to break down. Right now my brain is fulfilled, and if I do with this, it might be useless thing or time waste. So I'll come back tomorrow and continue from same point without any skip, most probably. So see you tomorrow, and just enjoying this. Alex is a crazy guy. Probably analyze me one night. Okay, bye bye.